This is episode 14 of Geeking Off the Page. This time it has video. Yada, yada, yada. Enjoy it.
In a world overrun with an infinite amount of multiverses, originating from a plethora of sources, four longtime friends band together to try to make sense of it all and present it to an audience in an easy-to-digest podcast. This is Geeking Off the Page.
Greetings, geeks. My name is Mike Kitchen, and I'm no longer the only American on this podcast.
Hey everyone, I'm Trevor. I'm the new American, so screw you.
Hey folks, I'm Gavin, proudly Canadian, and there's a thumbtack under my fanny.
And my name is Troy, and I'm invincible! So welcome to episode 14 of Geeking Off the Page. This is a gathering of like minds of people that have known each other. Yes, Mr. Brown, what would you like to say?
Why did you wave? This is an audio podcast.
Because for the same reason why you put up your hand to ask a question?
No, I was pausing you. I wasn't pausing the listener. I was just pausing
I
you to ask why did you wave? It's not like there was an audible sound when you waved. They're not going to know.
He knew you were going to do a play-by-play, Trevor.
There you go.
Teamwork.
There you go. It makes the dream work.
Well,
So
at least we all have faces for podcasts.
we do, definitely. So
And
we
a voice
basically...
for selling film.
That's a new one. I like that. Let me write that one down. Voice for silent film. Okay. So gathering of like-minded minds to talk about this sort of thing that we've been doing for over 25 years when we used to culminate together at school for animation in Sheridan. And we have been doing this stuff all these years ever since. And now we've decided to come together in a podcast form to bring it to the general public. And this is what we get, geeking off the page. So like I said,
Sorry about that, folks.
We just want to bore a lot of people all at once.
Oh, come on. This is fun. You people love it.
Yes, you people do love it. So we usually start off every single episode and we talk about coming attractions. So the trailers that we had given to us this week, which are available to us, we have quite a few actually to talk about. We got a couple of really big ones and a couple we're just going to glance over because there's not really much information about them to begin with. So we're just going to... No, they're probably going to be fun, but you know what? We're going to start off with a big one, and that's Star Wars Visions. So this is one of the big projects that is going directly to Disney Plus. It's going to be premiering on Disney Plus on September 22nd, and it's a collective of... How many shorts was it again, Trevor?
9
shorts by anime studios that are doing their own take on the Star Wars universe. So, Trevor, do you want to take this over for a bit?
No, but that's okay.
Okay, then
will.
anyone else want to... Okay, so basically what it is Disney Lucasfilm has come to different animation houses obviously in Japan and all that, and they have basically given them these reins to make and design their own Star Wars shorts. And what this is it's this trailer that we're given shows us a lot of behind the scenes of the different studios that are working on it, several of the actual animators and writers and directors that are actually involved with it, talking about how it is like a dream thing to do this idea of making actual Star Wars. So from what we can tell is a bunch of the stories are going to take place in like current timeline and previous timeline, and as far as I know, maybe something that goes far off in the future. Not 100% sure. Don't quote me on that, but I know someone will. But hey, it doesn't really matter because I don't know anything. So it
You
just
can
looks...
quote him on that too.
Yes,
yeah, you can totally now quote that. You can quote me quoting myself.
Yeah, something I know about this. I'm just going to quickly interject. All the studios were told they do not have to adhere to any established Star Wars timeline. They can make their story. The only thing they have to do is use elements of Star Wars in any way that they see fit.
There you go. So that's basically what is going to be happening. All
There's
that.
a couple of things I think's fun with this. Like, first of all, we all know that Star Wars, like George Lucas, was heavily influenced by Seven Samurai, so Akira Kurosawa. So it's kind of neat to see this coming full circle. Second thing, like right now, as far as comic books go, like the manga is kicking American comic books butts, right? Like every kid these days are huge fans of the manga more than they are from the American comic books.
That is for sure, yes.
Like I've been saying every single podcast, you know, my sons are obsessed with Naruto and Boruto. So I'm really curious to see once this drops, to see how this generation of kids responds to the new anime Star Wars.
For sure, yes. Again, a lot of it looks so spectacular. And I believe on the preamble, Gavin, you had pointed out something about the look of some of these characters, how the fact that they're actually going to be going beyond the whole entire humanoid sort of.
Yeah, they don't. They're not kind of keeping the standard. You know, for the most part, all of the Jedis are basically just humans with like a couple of prosthetics stuck on them somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
It's funny that I see one of these characters looks like a bunny character. I remember Marvel Comics had that green bunny.
Jackson. His name is Jackson.
Okay, you remember the name. I tried to memory wipe that character from existence. But it's fun to see that they've got something similar to that. I'm curious to see how that one's going to turn out.
Actually, go on, Gavin. Go on, Gavin.
My hope with this is it gets sort of the same sort of feel that they did with Batman Gotham Knight. Went the way they did that anthology with all the different directors. It's same idea. In fact, I'm fairly certain there's a lot of people behind. Like almost everyone involved with Gotham Knight is also involved with this.
And for the listeners, we have a list of the different episodes, the titles. So they are The Duel, Lop and Ocho, Tatooine Rhapsody, The Twins, The Elder, The Village Bride, Akakiri, T0B1, and The Ninth Jedi. I'm already excited just reading those titles about I want to see these now.
Yeah.
Why do we have to wait till September?
Yeah, no, it's another thing that just, I mean, now we know how the Disney era Star Wars movies have turned out. Whether you like them, whether you don't like them, whether you have problems with them, whether you think they're spectacular, they're very decisive. But
actually, just for fun, let's take a vote.
Okay.
Okay. The latest trilogy.
Yes.
Out of all those options, what did you guys think?
I will say I love them. I enjoyed them, but my opinion is going to be completely different from everyone else's opinion because mine also involved a lot of the way I went about seeing the movies. I did the big dress up. I did the huge group costumes. I was able to introduce my daughter to Star Wars through these movies. She was introduced originally to the original trilogy, the way I was. She has yet to see the prequels just because they're a little more above a kid's thing, but she is a fan of Rey. She's got several Rey cosplay costumes, so she enjoys the Rey storyline, the Finn storyline, BB-8. There's crap loads of BB-8 merchandise all over the place. There's porgs tripping over them left and right, sort of thing. So, I mean, me being able to interact with my daughter through the Star Wars movies have made these very enjoyable movies for me. So,
Gavin?
Well, I honestly enjoyed all three of them. I will say 100% there were some very questionable directional choices, especially some ways that the stories I would have not wanted them to go that way. And there were definitely some wasted characters that got like, I'm sorry, Admiral Akbar is there and then gone. Sorry, wait, what? You can't do this to Admiral Akbar, damn it. But that being said, I mean, I see where people have the problems with them, but I enjoyed them despite the problems that I saw.
Trevor?
Well, let's see. The first movie, I left that movie thinking, why did I just watch A New Hope again? It felt like Abrams played it too safe. He wanted something familiar so the older fans could have something to latch on to, but I think he strayed too far in that direction. Second film, it felt like Rian Johnson he didn't want to do a Star Wars movie. He didn't care to do a Star Wars movie, so he just decided, let's see how hard I can piss on this, and let's see what happens. And then the third movie just felt like nothing but damage control. There wasn't enough time to tell a story. It was just trying to salvage something from what started with the first movie and was destroyed in the second movie. Let's salvage something and throw it on the screen. So as a fan of the trilogy, like of the original trilogy, I was not happy. But like Troy, this is something I can use to help connect my kids to Star Wars, because they love BB-8, they love the Porgs. This is something for them to connect to Star Wars, and as they get older, hopefully gain an appreciation of the original trilogy, and when they're old enough to watch the prequel trilogy, and then to realize just what kind of a crap fest the sequel trilogy is. So yeah, that's my opinion.
My soul was crushed.
I knew you were leaving yourself to the end to be able to say something.
Mike,
Force Awakens,
sugarcoating it.
Force Awakens, JJ almost had me. I was like, oh, we're getting back to practical effects, and this is kind of cool story. I love the crash Star Destroyers. That was all really fun. But then Rey just had a little bit too easy. Like, there was no training, and she just, it's the typical Mary Sue character where, she's pulling off Jedi tricks that Luke didn't figure out until Return of the Jedi. Second one, I was going to walk out on halfway, but I thought, okay, I paid for the ticket. I'm going to sit through. And I regret that. Never saw the last one. Like, that's how much I hated it. And so I make sure when I connect my kids to it, it's the original trilogy and this last one. We went to see the first one in theaters, but they haven't even seen. Well, actually, I think they did watch the third one. And they're like, Dad, I don't understand it. It's like, I don't either.
Oh,
so anyways, we have a full spectrum.
So you have not seen you have not seen The Rise of Skywalker at all?
I haven't seen a single thing except the trailers.
Okay.
Except I saw some spoilers with weird Force ghosts and Palpatine. I was like, that's enough for me to just bail.
Okay.
So anyway, I just think that's interesting that the view of Star Wars has such a wide spectrum.
Yeah, no,
so
definitely.
When this one comes around, I'm really curious to see how everybody responds to it.
Well, right now, I can't wait to see this. I'm just going to say right there. I mean, again, it's also in our treehouse as well. It's basically what we like. Anime, Star Wars, good storytelling, because they're coming from the animation houses that know how to do stories. They know how to do that sort of thing. So
and I think as far as connecting with the kids, this one is going to really connect with my sons that are into Naruto.
Oh, for sure. Yes. All right. So like we said, Disney Plus is releasing that on September 22nd. And because they are shorts, all 9 episodes are being released at once. So we'll be able to watch about an hour and a half worth of, all of them in one sitting, which is also kind of a nice thing. So it's not being dished out to us one short per week at a time, like Disney's been doing with other things that have been sometimes torturous, but very well paid off. So a couple of the other things that we have dropped on us trailer-wise is we actually have the third movie in the trilogy of The King's Man, which is being released on December 22nd in theaters only, which is kind of nice to see that sort of thing being tagged onto all movies. But so basically what this is this goes back to the origins of the Kingsman storyline, where we follow Ralph Fiennes as he becomes basically the King's Man, as I believe he attains his first, apprentice to help out to build the what is eventually becomes this huge thing that we've seen in the Kingsman and the Kingsman 2, whatever that second story.
Golden Circle.
Thank you. So what did you guys think of this particular trailer?
I really like the Secret Service comic book. So whenever I look at anything by Mark Miller, I always kind of go back to the comic book first. Unless I missed it, I don't think they did a prequel comic. I don't know if anybody else has information on that.
As far as I know from what I've heard about Mark Miller talking about this, is they basically approached him to write a prequel story. So this is I don't know if he actually wrote this whole entire thing, but I think was responsible for at least the very first draft or the first treatment of what it should be, and they followed up from there.
Okay, so that's fun because anytime, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. When you try and take a comic book series and continue it past what the original creator came up with.
Yeah.
But it does look fun. I did enjoy the first two movies, and if Mark Miller was involved, then hopefully, we'll get something good out of it.
Okay, so I'm just looking at the credits that are in the actual trailer, and it basically says, based on the comic book, The Secret Service by Mark Miller and Dave Gibbons. So the story is by Matthew Vaughn. The screenplay is by Matthew Vaughn and Carl Gogstick, I believe, and it's directed by Matthew Vaughn. So Matthew Vaughn is very much involved in the whole. So it's a film by Matthew Vaughn. So whether or not
we know who to blame.
Yeah, exactly. There's one man that is responsible for putting his name on this so many times. So yeah, so it's also produced by Matthew Vaughn. So this is all Matthew Vaughn's. So it looks like it's just basically based on the idea. So it maybe Mark Miller, he might have worked with Mark Miller, but according to this, like I said, also this is just the trailer credits that flash up at the screen for a second or two at the very end. There's no mention that Mark Miller is more than the based on part. So
yeah, and I've always been a big fan of any sort of spy novels, espionage, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, looking forward to it.
And also the nice thing is when I saw it originally, the Kingsman was surprised. I was definitely taken aback. I was not sure what I was expecting, and when I saw what I saw, I was like, this is actually really cool. So
well, I mean, the church scene really showed like just how well he could direct action, and it was like, okay, I'm sold on a lot of the fight scenes, but this whole church scene, pure chaos, but I could follow the whole thing. So, you know what? If he's directing, he knows the world. I think he's going to be able to pull this off. I'm looking forward to this. Manners maketh the man.
He's directed all three films.
Yeah.
So he knows what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of would have preferred a sequel to The Golden Circle as opposed to a prequel, because the problem with prequels is you don't have that tension of will they survive? Will they succeed? Well, of course they did, because we've seen the future and we know that they're around. It's not like he fails and they're like, let's just start it anyway. So that's the problem I always have with prequel films is we know he survives. We know it succeeds. I would have liked to seen what happened at the end of The Golden Circle, where Statesman and Kingsman kind of merged together. I wanted to see where that was going, but I'll still watch this, absolutely.
All right, and then after that, we are going to we're now privy to a G.I. Joe movie, which we haven't heard from the G.I. Joe universe in a while, and there's a movie based on Snake Eyes coming out, and that's being given to us on July 23rd, so just a little time away. And so this is an origin story of a character that we don't know very much of the origin about. I believe they went into in some Marvel comic, they went into the origin of Snake Eyes himself, but this time around, we actually get a little more of the actual reason for Snake Eyes being the Snake Eyes that he is. So I'm not 100% sure if where everyone's ready to get back into the G.I. Joe universe. I thought it was just going to be a Snake Eyes movie until Scarlet shows up at one point in the trailer. So it's like, so it is a G.I. Joe movie, not just a Snake Eyes movie. So
and the Baroness.
And the Baroness, yes, sorry. The Baroness is also there as well. So, because halfway through it, Cobra's coming up and there's Cobra. And I'm kind of disappointed that the Cobra symbol looks just like the toy line Cobra symbol. It's not like they try and reinvented it or anything like that. So, but the fact that Snake Eyes costume, once he's in his full costume, looks a little like the Ray Park costume from the
No lips.
That's right. There's no lips on it this time. Yes, that's right.
Well, it's like a motorcycle helmet now. So
yeah. With the collapsing visor sort of thing. I mean, if I can see this for free, I'll definitely watch it. I don't think I'll go out of my way to actually see this movie, but I mean, I'm interested. I like the kung fu, the fight sequences. I mean, obviously this is the trailer, but the fight sequences look kind of cool. And I don't know. What do you guys think?
I'm planning to see it. Whether I'm going to see it in the theaters or not depends if I can find someone who actually wants to go with me. Amanda has no bread out of that. But I think I think anything can kind of improve over G.I. Joe Retaliation and the first one.
Yeah,
they were not great.
Yeah,
they were not great. But it looks like there's like a better eye for detail and a bit more sort of paying attention to the sort of the ninja aspects that made Snake Eyes so cool to the 12-year-old me.
Yeah.
The one thing I'm curious about is the fact that they made Snake Eyes an Asian character, because my understanding of the original is he was an American character, and Storm Shadow was the Asian, and that was what brought the conflict between them. So the fact that you're doing a Snake Eyes movie, but you're stripping out the major source of conflict between the two Nemesis characters, like I'm not sure how they're gonna handle that. Like unless they make Storm Shadow the American and do it that way. Like I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, I love the comic books. I read all the way through as many as I could. And yeah, the big difference with Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes was blonde hair, blue eyed.
Yeah,
they were part of the same unit in Vietnam. And finds out that his family gets killed while he's in action, and then Storm Shadow invites him back to the his family dojo, and the Hardmaster prefers Snake Eyes over Storm Shadow.
Yeah.
And that's where the tension arises. Is this is the family I've been born into, but they're accepting you over me,
right?
Because they say you're better.
Yeah, exactly.
That was part of the tension between them. And I remember in one of the comics he even said this foreigner was beloved by my family more than me. That the Hardmaster was looking at Snake Eyes to be his successor, not Storm Shadow, which means, and the Hardmaster is the one who runs basically the family. The Softmaster is like the sense of morality, and the Hardmaster was like, well, my successor is going to be Snake Eyes.
Right. It's that cultural conflict really makes it.
Yeah, we're breaking the family line, the family tradition, because I'm taking the better warrior, and that's where Storm Shadow was like, well, screw this. I'm gonna go with Cobra for a while. F you.
Yeah.
But this we got.
I can see why they made the choice that they did.
I can see too, because people are going to complain, oh, you're whitewashing the characters, but I mean the character was. People.
It's supposed to be a whitewashed character. Like it's
people
the core of the
character with Iron Fist. They're like, it's a rich white guy. Read the comics. It's a rich white guy.
Yeah, exactly. It is. It's a rich white guy. Yeah, you're right.
So
Yeah.
I can see why they did this to avoid people saying, "Oh no, you're just whitewashing the character."
But you could send a proper message. Like you can talk about that kind of a thing if you write the movie around that. Yeah, it's a perfect point of discussion.
It is. But they're not. They just want to get into the action. They're put meat in the seats. Get some ticket prices. That's pretty much what they're going for. And the actor playing Snake Eyes, he's very good. I've seen him in a couple of movies. Crazy Rich Asians was a funny movie. He was really good in it. When I saw the first trailer, I was like, they're going to have him as Snake Eyes. And I was like, ugh. I just remember that the first picture when they take off Snake Eyes' helmet, the very first time you see his face, and it's all like disfigured and whatnot. It's got like the hair sticking out the side of his face, and you realize he's like the blonde-haired, blue-eyed American boy, and you're like, oh, this is the guy who's a better ninja than Storm Shadow.
Yeah,
but we'll see how it turns out.
Hey, did you guys ever watch the cartoon, the G.I. Joe Resolute? That came out a few years ago.
That was like a 6-episode series, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I quite liked it, actually.
I really enjoyed that one. I guess it was 2009. It says it came out. That's when I watched with the kids, and the action was really good. And they did an amazing Snake Eyes Storm Shadow battle.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No, I don't think I've even heard of it.
Yeah, I don't think I saw that one.
Yeah, I'll definitely look it up though. All right, so moving on, the other one that we have is another one, again, from the same era of the original source, is Transformers War for Cybertron Trilogy. And I believe it's the first movie of the trilogy called Kingdom, if I'm not mistaken. Mr. Gavin.
That's right.
Mr. Gavin, we're turning to you, Mr. Transformer Gavin.
Yeah, hold on.
I believe it's called
there-
Kingdom. Oh no, I've got it right
Is there-
here. It's Kingdom, and it's being released to Netflix on July 29th. So I'm going to give it to you, Gavin, because you're our Transformers. You tell us what this trailer does for us.
Well, this is the continuation of the War for Cybertron and the basically their whole their saga that they've got going. They land on Earth and basically Megatron teams up with Beast Wars Megatron. Optimus Prime teams up with Optimus Primal. And it's just a whole sort of bastardization of robots in disguise as either vehicles and animals. One thing I will mention though, this one is not voiced by Ron Perlman. There's an actual movie being released to the theaters, live action that does have Peter Cullen as Optimus Prime and Ron Perlman as Optimus Primal.
Oh really?
So these are two separate things.
Oh, so okay.
Yeah, the Netflix is kind of like they've kind of taken all of the stuff from like Hasbro, hired basically non-union actors to voice everything. So everything has a horrendously deep growly voice for everything, like every single character. But it's fine for what it is. I'm looking forward to seeing what actually happens in this because I'm trying to figure out how they're going to incorporate, the Beast Wars characters with, the modern Transformers characters.
Right.
But the live action one is going to be supposed to be based in the Bumblebee universe.
Gotcha. So the Bumblebee standalone movie that was far and above the most superior of the Transformers movies.
Kind of thing.
Yeah. Like a soft reboot.
Reboot.
Yeah.
But not enough of a reboot to make it good.
So Gav, so we have our modern interpretations of Optimus Prime and Megatron, and then we have the Beast Wars, Optimus Prime and Megatron. But at 151 in the trailer, we have Galvatron.
We have Galvatron. Yes,
he does
just
show
about to
up.
say
Yes,
that.
And the Black Optimus.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
that's
So they've taken everything in the kitchen sink and thrown it to us in this trilogy.
Nemesis Prime. Yeah. So the evil Optimus Prime.
Wow. I'm just scrubbing through it and all that. And actually, you know what? Because I'll admit it, I watched Beast Wars when it was out. It was kind of cool. The animation was very rudimentary at the time. It was
they needed to flick the shadows on button.
Yeah,
really
exactly. But if I remember correctly, in Beast Wars, at one point they actually go into the Ark. Do they not go into the Ark?
And they stand on Optimus Prime's chest.
And they stand on Optimus Prime's chest, yes. So I'm just watching this transformation sequence where they go from beast mode into robot mode, and they're talking to the Cybertron robot versions, and they're all the same height. What the?
Yeah. It should be like a person regarding like a little action, like a G.I. Joe action figure.
Exactly, yeah.
Huh?
If you can have a cassette tape transform to basically the size of a human and a tape player transformed from a boom box to like a 20-foot tall robot.
I guess, but they had again, as Troy was saying, they had that Beast Wars episode where they get onto the Ark and they transform and they're like, oh look, there's Optimus Prime. And
this giant
enormous head. They're like, there's big, his mouthpiece is bigger than they are. They're standing on his chest, which means when they transform, they're like this tall.
Yeah. But it'll be interesting to see. Again, it's going to be a trilogy, and I believe the first of the trilogy is being released, unless they're releasing the whole entire trilogy in one time. So three.
Well, the first two parts are already released.
Oh, really? Oh, is this the third part?
Yeah.
Well, okay, so this is the finale then. So I guess we have some Transformers to watch before we get to this next one that, again, in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
All right.
Like I said, the only problem I have with the models that they're using is that you see the peg piece there?
Yeah.
That'll be on the actual Netflix Optimus Prime model.
Look, they don't have time to do retopology, Gavin. Come on. Jeez.
I'm just saying.
When you're on a
Oh,
time
poetic.
crunch, you're like, F it, good enough. Let's go.
I mean, it
get
is
your ass in the motion capture suit.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah, it is kind of neat to. They do definitely look like the toys that have come to life. You're playing with your action figures, and of course your Beast Wars will be the same as your classic Transformers when you play them together, right?
I do have a question. If they turn it the right angle, will you be able to actually see the screw inside the hole, like the little screw head?
I'm not entirely sure about that, but the
that would be like
that would be fantastic.
Jetfire had all of the little plastic support struts that helped sort of bulk out the wing. So
really,
yeah. So if you could see the screws and the screw holes, it'd be like attack him with a screwdriver. No defense.
Yeah, giant Phillips head. Let's undo the Phillips head.
I will say, Transformers Prime or Siege did bring one of the greatest versions of the modern day Optimus Prime. He actually looks like the cab over and looks really, really close to his original G1 version, but he can pose. I've seen people doing doing photo shoots where you get that shot where he's kind of in the Transformers movie where he's leaping up and like shooting all of the Decepticons. You can actually do that shot.
That's cool. Nice. All right, that's cool. It looks cool. Obviously, I'm behind on my Transformers, so I've got 2 movies on Netflix to watch now. So, yay, more to watch. All right. So what we saw in this trailer, is that everything that happens in this one, or is this just the whole entire trilogy in this one trailer?
No, I think it's what's happening in this next part.
Are you kidding me? It looks like a shitload that's going to happen in this next little part. How long is this movie?
Well, it's episodic, right? Like there's usually like 6 or 7 episodes.
It's a series. Okay, I apologize. I was thinking it was a movie. I thought it was, when it said trilogy, I thought it was, but this is like a 3rd season is what we're about to see.
Yeah, when I heard about that, the live action version with Ron Perlman and Peter Cullen supplying voices, I'm like, wait, I thought they didn't have the same I thought they didn't have these guys in the Netflix show.
Okay.
What do you mean it's 2 separate things? Beast Wars live action? Okay.
So Gavin, did Beast Wars show up in the previous season? Or is it just this one?
Scorponok, the original headmaster, shows up as sort of a bestial version of a Transformer. But the actual like Optimus Primal style and Dinobot style Beast Wars do not show up until this new one.
Okay, gotcha.
Clear as mud.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So moving on, we have probably the biggest trailer that we're probably going to talk about, and that is Marvel Studios. And again, note that it is Marvel Studios. So this is something that is actually going to be involved in canon for the MCU, and that is What If. We finally got, yes, as everyone, big smiles, everyone's cheering, everyone's, yay, fireworks going off and all that sort of thing. So Disney Plus is going to give us this series starting on August 11th. And like I said, it is a Marvel Studios. So again, anything that happens is basically going to be included in, obviously it's going to tie in with Doctor Strange multiverse of madness sort of thing. We're going to see what the different multiverses are happening at the current time and all that. It's nice to finally see at least ideas of what's going to happen in every single episode. I don't know if I'm going to do a deep dive into it. I have seen a couple of people that have listed episodes. Yes, I know you have. So I'm going to turn over the reins to Trevor, and I'll just throw in, I guess everyone else will just throw in when we get in this. Are we going to handle this chronologically by the trailer there, Trevor?
I'm just going to do it just by the trailer in order that it appears.
Okay, cool. Good, because then I don't have to jump around my notes, because that's how I have my notes written as well. Good.
So we start off with basically, it was almost like a shot-for-shot recreation from Iron Man.
Yes.
The Humvee and Tony Stark in the back seat, and can I take a picture? And the guy throws up the peace sign, don't throw up any gang signs.
And I love that they started with that, because it's such a callback to the very start of the Marvel Universe.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
that itself is absolutely genius.
And the convoy stopped, and Tony runs hiding behind the rock. He's trying to call trying to call Rhodey, and then the shell impacts. And he looks at it, and it says Stark Industries. And in the movie, it explodes, and then he wakes up, and they're doing surgery, and he's in the hands of the Ten Rings. Instead, who shows up? Killmonger.
Yeah.
Who grabs it and hucks it so it explodes at a safe distance.
Yeah.
And he's even got he's wearing the armor. It's got Killmonger on it.
Yeah.
And they walk off,
walk off to the distance, chatting.
Yeah. And it's like, where is this going to go?
Yeah.
Where is this going to go?
Yeah.
And then they do the Marvel logo.
You can just imagine that, right? Killmonger was trying to get Wakanda. Okay, if you can't get that, well, sure, team up with Tony Stark. Exactly, and now you have all the tech of the Avengers with Killmonger in charge.
And then right after the Marvel Studios logo goes black, and we see his two silhouettes walking. One man has a kind of a shorter guy, has a staff that has a glow, and immediately reveals as they go into this fantastic city, it's Doctor Strange and the Ancient One from the comic books, the real Ancient One.
Yes, which blew me away when I saw that. I'm like, wait, is that? Oh my God, yes.
And we get to see a whole sequence with Doc Strange, and him going through the multiverse of madness, and then we jump to the Avengers, that pivotal scene, the Avengers, where we do the spin around, and then the Flash to the Guardians.
And
instead of having like Hawkeye, Iron Man, Thor, it flashes, and instead we have Gamora with Thanos's
helicopter blade. Yeah,
we've got Star-Lord, Black Panther.
Yeah.
It's just
Party Thor in the background of the very edge of
the very end. You just catch the end of I can't remember in the comic books what his name was. He was like
I can't remember what they actually he's the unfortunate thing is there's some sort of marketing that is out there, and this one is being quoted as being called Party Thor. So
we'll see how it goes. And then we jump to Star-Lord when he's retrieving the power gem, and it turns out it's T'Challa,
yeah, which we've seen before, yeah. But the nice thing is they now have the added scene with him and Yondu having a conversation. So
exactly, and what's also nice is a lot of these clips start with something we're familiar with from the films, and then they kind of show the variation. So we go to the sequence with, Loki and Thor, and we're expecting and it's Loki on Earth that is negotiating, and we see a quick thing with Howard the Duck. We see Captain Carter and Tony Stark's dad.
I just have to jump in one thing real quick. The Loki scene is an interesting one because we're just coming off the Loki series with the TVA and all this kind of stuff. Now, how is that scene going to tie in?
We don't know.
Maybe it will just be a what if, right?
But it's going to be what one hell of a what if.
I would love to see if that what if ended as President Loki.
That would be awesome.
That would be really cool.
Don't think about Howard the Duck. He's
Kevin Feige. Troy has an idea. Take note.
And then we have the sequence of when it ends with Captain Carter, and I don't know if what they're gonna call him, but he definitely looks like Ironmonger because he's.
It definitely looks like Ironmonger, yes.
And it jumps to Killmonger landing, and he's got what looks like he's got a spear of some kind. I am so excited for this whole series.
One of the other things, just a little back, we have a sequence where there's Party Thor is taking on some Ultron bots, and he's fighting in Las Vegas, and you can tell it's Las Vegas because you have the Moulin Rouge and the pyramids behind him, and the only place you're going to find that on Earth is friggin' Las Vegas. The Loki army, if you look at who they're standing off against, it looks like that is Nick Fury.
Yeah,
because the long trench coat, bald man with a couple of SUVs behind him and all that sort of thing, which looks kind of neat. As far as we know, we've seen footage of not transformed, obviously, Steve Rogers inside we're going to call it Ironmonger because
we don't know what it's called yet.
Peggy Carter has been given the super serum and she is Captain Britain and all that.
And I love the fact that she fights with a sword and shield.
Yes.
Not a 45 pistol.
No.
A sword and shield. And she kicks a lot of ass with that thing.
Yeah. And of course, there's a sequence where you have like Dark Power, Doctor Strange going on. We also have the quintessential, well, my personal favorite is we have even more Marvel Zombies showing off.
Yes. Oh my God. That was one of my favorite series.
Yeah.
At 122, we have a nice shot of what looks like a New York skyline, and you've got almost like the superimposed silhouette with the glowing eyes of the Watcher.
Yeah.
And I pray to God that one of the episodes we get to see is where the Watcher says that line of, "I will no longer watch, I will act." And that's when the Watcher comes off the moon, and you truly get to see what a cosmic force on the planet Earth really looks like. And the only thing that stops him was Franklin Richards tells him to stand down. And it was such a pivotal moment in the comic book, and it was just like, please, 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 let's do this.
Do you think they'll introduce Fantastic Four if they did that?
I don't know. I honestly don't know, but I mean, in the what if, they have full use. Like, you know, they can use whatever they want in the Marvel universe.
Because it's not going to directly, it's just going to give examples of what this multiverse is like, right? With the multiverse of the Marvel universe is actually. My
question, so they have a quick shot of a talking head, just the severed head, and Vision is standing right next to it.
Yes.
Is that Peter Parker?
I think it's actually
or is that, I mean,
Ant-Man. I think it's Paul Rudd's character. Why am I Scott
Lang?
I think it's Scott Lang.
Thing is, he doesn't, I mean, it doesn't talk for long enough to see what the voice is.
No, it definitely no. But again, the nice thing, again, like we've mentioned previous episodes, is the actors that did the characters are coming back to do the voices of the animated characters. So, which is,
you guys were talking about Party Thor. Did you read Ultimates?
Yes.
Because that was an aspect of the Thor character in the Ultimates that I always thought was kind of cool. Because he's this god among men, so he's just in all the clubs, and he's got all the people kind of raving over him. Yeah. So I wonder if they're going to incorporate some of that stuff from the Ultimates into the Party Thor.
Yeah, I mean, he kind of looks like I remember Eric Masterson. He took over for Thor for a while. He had a mace as opposed to Mjolnir. So when Thor was,
yes, okay, I know who you're talking about. Okay,
he had like the ponytail, and he tried to tell. He was trying to convince everyone that he was Thor, but in the whole time in his mind, he's like, they're not buying it, but they were.
Right. Yeah.
And there's a sequence at the end with Yondu and T'Challa fighting what appears to be Adam Warlock.
Yes, we're finally getting Warlock, which is Adam Warlock, which would be, I mean, why not, huh? Why the hell not?
Why not? I mean, But the thing is, I think the most telling image is at the very end, they do like the fractured glass, and every different fractured glass has different characters, and some of them are scenes from the movie, like you have Tony Stark in the donut, eating the donut, wearing the Iron Man armor. And if you flip it through frame by frame and they change, we see the different characters. We see, looks like Miles Morales. We see a kid on a web.
Oh, really? Oh, I missed that. Oh, I have not seen that.
203. It looks like to be Tony Stark with the arc reactor.
Right.
On the bottom is Nick Fury, and it's the character on the left that kind of looks like that could be Miles Morales, or that might be a young T'Challa being pulled up into Yondu's ship. It's really hard to tell.
Now, I think it would be T'Challa.
Yeah, but if you look over if you look over two, that's not Black Panther. That's Killmonger's Black Panther, because it's the gold necklace, not the.
Okay, so I also see in here. I see a Ghost Rider in here. I see. Let's see here. What else we got here? Oh, wow, that is like very quick.
It's extremely
switchovers. Yeah. Oh, there's also one sequence, I can't remember where it is, but we have a Hulk transformation, and the person transforming into the Hulk is wearing Hawkeye's outfit.
Yeah, it's Hawkeye as the
Hulk. And there's one sequence where we have a redheaded character who is Black Widow, obviously, who is wearing military fatigues as the Hulk is transforming. So I think we have Natasha getting involved with
Or Budapest.
Budapest. Yes.
Budapest had a completely
Budapest.
different ending. Yeah.
Budapest, as we have been corrected again.
Yes.
Yeah.
I am so excited for this series.
Yeah.
I mean,
there is.
If all my issues of What If were not up in Canada, I'd be reading them right now.
Aw.
Yeah. Damn COVID border lockdown.
Well, that's going to be this area is going into stage 3 next week, so I'm pretty sure soon something is going to give up.
I don't have my American passport yet.
Oh, you can't go. Then it should be easier for you to get back, right?
No, I've got my certificate of naturalization, but I got to send that in to get my passport.
Okay. Just again, doing some more scrubbing. It looks like we have a really cool picture of Ego. Kurt Russell's Ego in this. We have again, it looks I mean there's so much. As far as I know, there's what was it? 12 episodes?
I think it's 12.
12? Yeah. Anyways, but it's
let's see. 10 episodes, and a second 10-episode season is currently in development.
Oh, even better. That's always a good bit
of when they're confident enough in the first series before it's released that they start in the second one.
I'm just reading it here.
Exactly.
It will be part of the phase 4 of the MCU. A second 10-episode season is currently in development.
Nice. That's fantastic.
Did you guys catch the what I think is the Collector in getting involved in a fight? In
a fight with Yandu and Star-Lord, or I guess
but the thing is, if you look at the cast list, we also, I mean, some of the other characters like Taserface is going to be he's there. Chris Sullivan as Taserface.
Nice.
Beyond, I mean, we got Toby Jones as Zola. You know, they're all coming back. This is what makes it so freaking amazing.
Yeah, exactly. It looks like it's going to be a fun time. And well, I mean,
and Howard the Duck finally talks.
Yes, we get an actual Howard the Duck.
And as I said, voiced by Seth Green, like he was at the end of Guardians of
the Galaxy. Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I'm okay with this.
Yeah, no.
Now what they did say is Tony Stark, Steve Rogers, the Collector, Doctor Strange, and Carol Danvers will be voiced by other actors. They didn't get like Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans, or any of those. So they did get some other voice actors.
Yeah.
So I'm still going to be watching it. So I don't care.
Oh yeah, no.
It's not a bad sound like for Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark though.
No, definitely sounds really close. Especially seeing it's the exact same lines from the opening of the movie. It's really good.
But I think of all the voice acting, they picked the best narrator as the Watcher, Jeffrey Wright.
Yes, his voice is so meant for this character, which is great.
Like he was great in Westworld. He was great in just about everything he's done. Yeah, his voice is going to fit this perfectly.
Yeah. That's definitely.
That's why that little voice inside is saying, "Please, please, please say that immortal line from the Watcher. Please, just let him say that line."
All right. So that being said, that I guess wraps up our trailers for now, I guess. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So basically what we're going to go on to is what's next. So anything interesting anyone recently read or saw or listened to that they want to bring up?
My list of stuff, again, Boruto every morning with the family.
Yeah.
Erica's on board now where she's waking up at 7:00 in the morning to watch it with the kids, because she's so hooked on it. So you guys got to get in on that. It's unlike any other entertainment animation I've ever seen before. The Magic the Gathering, this is something that we played way back at Sheridan. There's an MTG arena that we've been playing at work and stuff, but now they're introducing Dungeons and Dragons into it. So I'm going to be very curious to see. That was just released into the game recently.
I just saw a post about that. Yeah.
And then we just finished Good Omens, and that did not disappoint.
Fantastic.
That was such a good series, and I'm so
Aren't you glad you
that
stuck with it?
it was so. I was happy the whole time. The problem is we always watch it late at night, so we end up falling asleep halfway through, even though we're so into it.
Yeah.
But we have to rewind and go, oh wait, where did we fall asleep? Oh, this was the spot. Okay,
Yeah.
keep going. But David Tennant was amazing, and I love how with David Tennant he keeps changing characters. Like the Crowley was not his Doctor Who.
No.
And it was not the Purple Man. It's like
Yeah.
each one of these characters, it's like the whole body language changes, the mannerisms change. And I thought the performance in that was amazing. So that was my entertainment for the week.
What about you, Gavin? What did you get around to this week?
Finished up Chuck.
Okay.
So we finished like right to season 5, episode 13, and Amanda's reaction is, "What the fuck?
Yeah.
It just ended like that."
Yeah, it was unfortunately it was one of those that it basically was set up for. It ends on basically a cliffhanger.
Like a good note, but a cliffhanger.
No, it's basically like, oh, you can end it here, but here's some extra stuff that might happen. And unfortunately, the series in its seasonal break got canceled. It never got renewed. So unfortunately, it wasn't one of those series where they're given the last, okay, this is going to be your final year. No, they were given like, okay, that was your final year after they had already finished everything. So I think they
managed to wrap it up as good as they could.
Yeah, exactly. I think they knew like within the last 2 or 3 episodes that was going to be it. So it wasn't enough time to wrap up everything, but they were able to.
Chuck was always kind of on the verge of cancellation. Like end of season 3, it was going to get canceled.
Was always
season 4, and then Subway comes in and rescues them with like a bunch of money. But watching Amanda's face just die inside every time they were like, and now I'm just going to enjoy my nice sweet teriyaki meatball sub from Subway with a large drink.
Yeah,
it was like watching her face, and she's like, just died completely.
But it's good that they had. I mean, it's good that they were able to do that because the story.
I'm not going to complain though.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I haven't watched the series, so I don't understand all those references. Explain to me what happened there.
Okay, well, the series is this guy that works at like a Best Buy sort of place.
Geek Squad dude, basically.
Yeah, he's a Geek Squad, and his
nerd.
He gets That's what they call themselves. He basically gets this computer system downloaded into his brain, and he becomes this super agent. Just like glancing right over it and all that. So he gets involved with some other agents that are trying to get the computer back. So they have to protect him from these bad guys that are trying to get the computer out of Chuck and whatnot. It's kind of neat. Scott Bakula turns out to be his father, which is kind of neat to see. He was the one that invented this computer system. That's
Linda Hamilton, it turns out to be
Linda Hamilton is yeah, exactly. So it's geekdom all around. But at one point, the series is about to be canceled. So what happens is Subway offers a crap load of money to keep the series alive. They take it, but the caveat is crap loads of product placement for Subway. Like literally what Gavin said about them talking about the latest Subway sandwich is basically what happens at least 3 or 4 times in that one season. But
it's like Warehouse 13, where they'd suddenly introduce whatever car that was the one they were supposed to be selling in that episode.
Yeah, exactly.
But,
yeah,
it's like Happy Gilmore when they suddenly cut to the product placement of Subway so he can buy the house.
But is it bad in a good way? Like, no,
it's a little over the top.
It's way too in your face. It's way too in your face.
They're like,
but
this Subway sandwich.
Yeah.
It's not like Spaceballs, the flamethrower.
It's sort of a little like that, actually. It is kind of, but
if I could just take a bite out of this Burger King's, Whopper dripping with flame,
exactly,
broiled.
flame broiled, exactly. Okay. It's basically it's a commercial within the thing that is blatantly a commercial, and like a lot of the episodes at the time that Subway was given the money has it, and it after a while it's like, ugh. But that aside, the series is very well written. It's cohesive, kind of cool, kind of neat thing. The interaction between the characters, the actors, work well together. It's
a lot of heart.
well worth for the 5 seasons that it is. It's actually a really well story. Just have the foreknowledge that you don't get a complete ending. You get a satisfying ending, but it's not a complete ending. There is a little more to this story, but we're never going to see that.
And lots of subs.
And yeah, exactly. And what's his face? Zachary Levi, who plays Shazam, is Chuck. So you know what he can do. You've seen him do a Shazam. There's 5 seasons of him doing that sort of thing. The sort of uncomfortable in my new line of life, trying to be this secret agent that sometimes has his powers come when he gets a flash of an image and all of a sudden he's kicking ass, but a second later he has no idea what's going on or something like that. So it's an entertaining series. It's definitely an entertaining series. What about you there, Mr. Trevor? Besides becoming an American citizen, what did you do this week? What did you watch or hear or listen to or read?
Well, my wife got me to watch Netflix. Was it on Netflix? No, on Hulu, a show called The Big Little Farm. It's a documentary. It's actually kind of interesting. It's about this couple that decide to take up farming, but in a very modern, like crop approach, like based approach. And they in essence turn their farm into like a biosphere, a self-sustaining biosphere. Well, everyone else is struggling with the drought. And they're fine. They have planned for everything, and it's a case like they get a snail infestation. Then if they release enough chickens, the chickens eat the snails, and it's learning how to balance everything out and so that everything works. It was interesting. And Troy ran the room because he's going to go watch it. Oh, he's back. He's watched it now. The other thing was what's it? We Are Lady Parts. It's a British series. Someone told my wife about it.
I was just thinking that's a strange title. It's a British series.
Yeah, okay. Well, what it is? It's
that
about
explains everything.
Types. It's about these
that narrows it down.
5 Muslim women who are a British punk band. Right there, woo, everything's out the window.
I heard someone talking about that. Yes.
Yeah, and so my wife, it's 6 episodes. She binged it and immediately said, "You have to watch this." So I watched the first episode. It's hilariously funny. Yeah. Other than that, I got my ass kicked at TKD 3 nights in a row, or 3 nights this week, and I became an American citizen. So, and I just had a party today for a citizenship party. Yay!
Yay!
And I was like 2/3 of the way through Black Widow when we had to start the podcast.
Okay, so I was going to bring that up. We know that Michael wasn't going to watch it. We know that Gavin went to the theater to see it. Trevor attempted to see it, and I watched it as well. So I believe we're going to talk about Black Widow.
Yeah, I did watch a lot of spoilers, just out of curiosity. So I do know some things.
I did stay in a Holiday Inn Express last night, so
I do know something.
So you guys take it away.
All right. So basically, this is the long-awaited single female-led Marvel movie that has been plaguing Marvel for years. Now,
we're not counting Captain Marvel.
Well, no, it took until Captain Marvel.
I mean, it's fine if we don't have to.
Well, I know you don't count Captain Marvel. But it took until Captain Marvel for this to happen. But unfortunately, I believe what the Marvel Universe was really wanted it to be more of a character that they knew to begin with. They wanted an origin story of someone that we were introduced. There's always a secondary character in a lot of the movies, and that is Black Widow. Natasha Romanoff, played by Scarlett Johansson, which she's been playing this role for practically almost since Iron Man 2. She has been involved in the MCU since Iron Man 2 and has always been, like I said, a secondary character. Now we are finally given this. Now, unfortunately, because of what has happened with the world in the past couple of, year and a bit, we have had a delay of this movie. It was supposed to be out several times over the past couple of years, but it just kept getting pushed back and COVID. And then finally, Disney decided, okay, we can't wait for theatrical, but you know what? Theatrical is coming out. Let's do this whole entire Disney Plus premiere release. So I personally saw it on Disney Plus. I believe Trevor also saw it on Disney Plus, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And
Still
then
works. It's still thing.
Gavin was able to see it in theaters because out where Gavin is living in Vancouver, the theaters are open for that sort of thing. So he went to see it in the theaters. Now, that being said, I'm just going to come out and say it. I enjoyed the movie. It was very fun. It was very entertaining. I was laughing when I was appropriately laughing. The visuals were really cool to see something. And it's kind of neat to see a theatrical release movie the first time and be able to stop it, rewind, check. Wait, what did I see? Because you go to the theater. That's the one thing that you can't do in a theater.
You're
can't
not supposed to do that
Rewind!
the first time, Troy.
Rewind!
The first time you have to just let it run.
Well, I understand. I understand that. Okay. The opening of the movie is a very dramatic sequence where the young kids get pulled away from their parents. I'm going to put in quotes parents. And we were watching it as a family, and unfortunately our daughter sort of got a little upset at the fact that these kids were now crying because they were no longer with their parents and they were being very scared. So we decided
So you pulled her away and sent her to bed.
Well, that's what we ended up doing. We ended up stopping the movie and then like, okay,
that
you know
sounds
what?
very traumatizing.
Let's stop that. She did later on say that she did want to watch the movie again. Just let's not watch the sad part again. So,
okay.
Thankfully, a couple of minutes after where we turned it off, it's like turns out okay, she can watch from this point on. It's not a problem. She'll recognize the character because, again, my daughter has watched a bunch of the MCU. She's a big Iron Man fan. She knows who Black Widow is. She collects a bunch of toys and all that sort of thing. So we're good with that. But that being said, like I said, I enjoyed it. I really liked it. Yes, there is some things wrong with it, but
what's wrong with it? I want to hear.
I want to hear everyone before we
Taskmaster.
cut into it. I want to hear what everyone.
I knew you were going to say that, Trevor. Come on, give me one negative, Troy. Just one.
It was the pacing was a little off. There could have been sequences that are a little tighter. I do want to say something that I really enjoyed is a lot of those clips that they put out there, like this scene and this scene and this scene, like, ooh, here's our action scene. Here's our like fight sequence between the two sisters. All of that is in like the first quarter of the movie.
Well, that's cool.
Okay.
Because when I saw the trailer, I thought I saw the whole movie.
Yeah. The only thing that is at the end of the movie is the big, flying through debris sequence, which is their finale of the movie. It's that big. So it's a big epic, again, special effect, but it's really well done. But a lot of those, where the sisters are driving through the seats, the streets, and they have the door ripped off and all that sort of thing. That's all like at the very, like I said, the first quarter of the movie.
I will say Marvel's always really good at the trailers. They managed to give you a trailer without giving the whole movie away.
There is a lot.
They did that.
Yeah, there's a lot in this movie that isn't in the trailer, which is kind of neat. I mean, if you know about Romanoff's backstory and all that from what you've ascertained from the Marvel movies or what you know from the comics to begin with, you know a good portion of what should happen. And there you go. So what do you say, Mr. Gavin? You're the other one that saw the complete movie in a different environment.
A theatrical experience, so that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It was nice and refreshing to hear the explosions in full surround sound effects and feeling it like in your gut as it's happening.
Was the popcorn good?
Well, because of my braces, I can't eat popcorn.
Oh, nuts. Okay.
Right, the braces.
Well, trying to change the Gavin buck teeth there. I thought everything went. It felt like a good addition to the Marvel universe, and a very, very good swan song for Scarlett Johansson. Her sister Yelena, I thought was really well cast. She, like, the sarcasm, the snappy comments, the running commentary on shit. Like it was funny. It was on point.
That's something that I saw in all the reviews. Everybody raved about her performance.
Yeah, like she's talking about it like a vest with pockets, and I'm like Amanda and I are dying watching this bit. David Harbour was perfectly cast as Alexei.
Never loses the accent. Never loses the accent.
Exactly. And I mean, just like within the first like 5 minutes, you're trying to figure out what's his deal, because from the trailers that he's cast as
Crimson
Crimson Guard, the Red Guardian.
Yes.
And he's a super soldier. So the whole thing opens up with a sort of an idyllic sort of 1995 happy family kind of thing, and he's the dad comes home, and all of a sudden the action starts. Okay, and then they're trying to get out of America.
Ohio.
So
they start off in
Ohio. Yeah. So they end up at an airstrip, and there's this giant dumpster blocking the airplane, and he just walks up and just like casually flips the whole thing up in the air, and you're like, what the fuck? And then you realize, oh right, he's a super soldier, and then it just goes on from there, and I thought he was just really well cast.
That's interesting for David Harbour, because I did not like his performance in season 3 of Stranger Things. I thought he was way too over the top, and so I was curious how he was going to be in this one. I didn't watch his Hellboy because I'm biased because I worked on the first one, and I was hoping it would be really good, and then I heard bad reviews. I'm like, I can't even watch it. So I was curious how he was going to pull off, but you guys all think he did a really good job.
It was over the top, but it was over the top in a good way. Kind of, he was
okay.
When you hear about an actor chewing through scenes.
Yep.
This is what he was doing.
He was totally.
Okay,
he was in the zone with this character. I like that. The main bad guy, Dreykov. I found him like the creepiest motherfucker I think I've ever seen as a bad guy in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I got a full-on Harvey Weinstein feel from him. Just like the creepiest piece of shit you've ever seen, and somehow he's managed to be in command of like hundreds and thousands of widows. And I quite enjoyed how he ended up in the movie, although it does sort of harken back to that that little pet peeve that I know you guys have, which is it's always power versus power, same power versus same power. So it was basically widow versus widow at the end. But my only complaint, and I think it was more because it took me off guard, was Taskmaster. I liked how Taskmaster was introduced. I liked how Taskmaster was like the Taskmaster's abilities to like map out what the opponent was, like how to counter the opponent, how to basically copy the moves. But the reveal of Taskmaster was not what I was expecting, and I just felt something about it. I just felt off to me. But on the whole, I very, very much enjoyed Black Widow.
Mr. Brown.
Now, keeping in mind, I haven't finished the movie yet. But
Tell me about Taskmaster.
Oh God, please.
Thank you, Trevor.
Oh, all right. So, run, Troy, run. You're going to run for this one. So, I actually long ago, I was reading the comic where the Taskmaster was introduced. And he always intrigued me as a character because his main power, where they called it photographic reflexes. He could see an action and he could duplicate it to the best of his physical ability. So when he was a kid, he was watching a major league pitcher, and he could pitch a ball 100 miles an hour. He could do rope tricks after watching a cowboy. And he realized this is something he could use, something he could do. He's not a virtuous little lad. He is using this for his own gain. We step things forward, and he eventually he realizes him being a criminal not really is going to make him lots of money. So he instead trains goons. He trains some of the a variety of villains, goes up against Captain America, but because he has photographic reflexes, he learns just about every Marvel hero style because they're constantly on TV in one way or another. So he learns how they fight. He actually at one point figured out Daredevil was blind by watching him fight, because he realized that Daredevil's not looking with his eyes, he's looking with his whole body, and puts it together that Daredevil's blind.
I have to just cut in here real quick because Naruto reference. Sasuke has the Sharingan eyes. It's the exact same power. And he does the same thing. And his mentor, he was called the Copy Ninja because he did the exact same thing. So if you guys like original Taskmaster, you'll love Sasuke.
All right.
Continue.
If you like original recipe Taskmaster.
Yes. So when I found out that for Black Widow, the main villain was going to be Taskmaster, I was like, ooh, I
had the same reaction.
I'm blanking on the name. Tony Masters was the original Taskmaster. So got his basically his powers from childhood. That's when they manifested. So he's a mutant of some sort.
Yeah, I was about to say he's a mutant. Yeah.
And then when watching this movie and it's revealed that it's the main bad guy, it's his daughter who got blown up and he just stuck a chip in her neck and that gives her abilities. And when you see through her display as she's analyzing movements, you're like, is she doing it or is the chip doing it? And that's where it kind of fell apart for me. I wish they would have used Tony Masters. They could have done a scene of this kid, people raving about this kid who seems to be able to copy anyone, and have him picked up just like a Black Widow. That would have been great, and gets indoctrinated, but in some ways accepts the whole program. It doesn't have to be brainwashed to be part of the program. He willingly joins.
I'm just sharing a screen right now to show again where cosplayers sometimes do better justice than cinematic ones. But with the Halloween mask skull, give him the goofy colors and the full-on shield and the white boots. Like, I think that character could be way more intimidating than the BMX mask that they gave it in Black Widow.
And so when they kind of said, "Oh, well, it's this guy's daughter," I was just like, again, you're coming up with a villain who's already established and trying to shoehorn the villain into the story. And again, fighting the same power set. I did like in the fight versus Red Guardian when Taskmaster pops the equivalent of the Black Panther claws, changes fighting style throughout the fight to basically kick ass, because that's what Taskmaster does. Mm-hmm. Uses your own style against you and then adds in other hero styles like a little bit of Spider-Man and stuff like that. I would have liked to have seen that as Tony Masters doing this. And then, have Black Widow do something unpredictable that he's never seen before, and it takes him out. I would have been happy as a pig in shit seeing
that. And honestly, that's a character I would love to see fight the Avengers.
Yeah.
It's like that's where it would really thrive.
Harking back to MODOK, Super Adaptoid, the first time he fought the Avengers in that comic, he was kicking their asses because he was taking their powers and using them against them. Not the current MODOK series. But that one aside, I wanted to see Taskmaster in this film do that. And it really didn't get to see that. And then I just it feels like, they were just like, well, here's a daughter. She can be Taskmaster. And it was just like, come on, you can have someone from the outside they've brought in who is Taskmaster. That's fine. It doesn't have to all be the happy little family sort of thing. I did like Ray Winstone as the general when he made the comment of he owns the world. With his widows, he owns the world. All the world leaders are that was a great line. Mm-hmm. And and then Natasha's response of breaking her own nose and then kicking his ass, that was an even better response to that. He did feel very much like Weinstein-y of just like very
creepy, very creepy.
You just kind of wanted to get some hot water and some soap and like, no. I will say Florence Pugh as Yelena was the star of the whole movie.
Yeah.
Her running sarcastic commentary like this is the crappy way to die. Stuff like that. Like, and her going on about the vest. I had to pause it because I was laughing so much I couldn't hear the movie. I was just dying inside. Because first she's like, "You don't like my vest," and then she's, "No, I like the vest." Me too. It's got all these pockets, and I can hold many things, and I was dying. She made the movie. I mean, as good as Scarlett Johansson did as Natasha, Yelena did it better. Like every time she spoke, especially when she's throwing in the sarcasm, it was like, she's going to throw a better line. And she
the best part for me when she makes fun of the superhero landing.
Yeah, and then she even tries it, and she's kind of like shaking, like, ugh.
Oh yeah, she had the look of disgust she had on her face.
Yeah, like she gets up, she's shaking her limbs, like, that's disgusting. It was great. And she calls Natasha a poser for taking these poses when she lands. Like, you're expecting everyone to be looking at you. The end credits cutscene was great. It sets up a really nice thing for Hawkeye series. Hopefully, they're going to tie that into this. Like, this will tie into Hawkeye series. We'll see Julia Louis-Dreyfus hopefully in the Hawkeye series. I'm praying to God that all comes together. Yeah. So
here's a question for you guys. It seems like they're setting up either Dark Avengers or Thunderbolts. What do you think about that? With U.S. Agent, you have another Black Widow.
It's a Disney Plus series.
Yeah.
I can't see it as a movie, but maybe it's a Disney Plus series. Like, they're going to have the Yelena Black Widow. They'll have the U.S. Agent. Yeah.
Agatha could be the Dark Scarlet Witch.
Yeah. So it'd be nice, but I am praying, because they used a picture of Jeremy Renner and they used sound bites of his voice. I'm praying that for his Hawkeye series that they get Florence Pugh to be in that. They get Julia Louis-Dreyfus to be in that. That would be perfect. That would tie it in.
Yeah,
amazing.
for sure.
The nice.
Okay. Oh, go ahead, Troy.
Well, again, I was just gonna piggyback on that. It's nice that we got this movie that is basically the one character you're able to see more of what she actually is, but then we're introduced to this other character who we're going to see who is future. So not only is it a wrap up of a storyline of a character, we're also introduced to a character, so it's an origin film as well. Not only is it as a farewell story to one, we've got an origin story with another.
It's kind of a dual origin, because we get to learn more about how
we do have more backstory. We have more backstory.
They even talk about the whole, can't have kids because their ovaries and uterus was removed. And
so beautifully done to that sequence.
Yeah. That conversation. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And because things is Natasha hinted at it to Banner when she talked about the Red Room, but really didn't go into any sort of detail.
Yeah.
But
it's cool that was set up in Age of Ultron. I know we had some discussion about Age of Ultron last week. Yeah. That was another great moment that was introduced in that film.
And this beautifully carries that through, gives us some of the graphic detail. And then, this was kind of like Natasha's, kind of rounded out the rest of Natasha's origin.
Yeah.
And at the same time, set up Yelena's origin. And it was the nice farewell to Scarlett Johansson. Thanks for playing Natasha. Now we're in the present. You're gone. Thank you. But, thanks for everything you did. But now we got Yelena as the new Black Widow. All the other Black Widows have been released to, go on with their lives with no kids. So, yeah. I did,
and there's
like
a lot of them.
Yes, I did like this movie. I really despise how they handled the character of the Taskmaster. I really, really despise that.
So did that, how much did that ruin the film? Can you enjoy the film despite Taskmaster?
I can enjoy the film. I mean, I'm enjoying the film. It's just, if I had to rate it a 10, if they had handled the Taskmaster more true to the comic, it would be like an 8 or 9 out of 10, because the way they're doing it, and they kind of shoehorn in the daughters being the Taskmaster, and they try to disguise her form with this crazy body armor.
Oh no, it is a man doing the stunts.
But the thing is, that when she takes the mask off, the head looks like it's floating.
Yeah.
I was like, who did not track that face properly? It's more of a 6. So it's for origin stories or single character in their own movie sort of thing. It's good, but I just feel the way they handled the Taskmaster kind of dragged it down.
Okay, I have daughters that want to watch this movie still, which means I will be watching the movie.
I think they will enjoy it.
They will really enjoy it. Yeah.
Women kicking a shit ton of asses.
Oh yeah,
doing it in style.
Yeah.
No high heels, by the way. None.
Yes,
Not a. No. Wait, do we actually see?
We got to rewind. Troy, you were pausing and rewinding. Come on.
Yes.
No,
come
I was
on.
just thinking.
Were you looking at the
So we
shoes?
didn't show the boots of what's her face at the end.
Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Yeah, they didn't show
Okay, Elaine,
what shoes
Let me
she was
clarify.
wearing.
No high heel combat.
Yeah,
Okay.
no high heel combat. Yeah.
Here,
So, yeah,
now this
it
is what
was-
I wanted to see from this movie. Like back when they were saying they were going to do a Black Widow movie,
Right.
I so wanted to see Black Widow and Daredevil. I was just like, oh, what a great way to bring Charlie Cox into the, Marvel universe. That was one of my favorite Frank Miller arcs on Daredevil.
Yeah, no, that
issue
I know what you're talking
188.
about. Yeah, 188. Yes, definitely.
And so there's just something about that. It's like, oh, I just wish we got that moment. Like, even if it's just a scene, like make it the first part of the movie. Like James Bond has the action sequence at the beginning. Make that. That'd be
Speaking
fun.
of James Bond, there is a nice sequence where Natasha's on the run. She's hiding in Norway, and she's watching Dr. No
Dr. No, yeah.
on her laptop, and she's doing the lines to kind of
Yeah.
like improve her British accent.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
it's like, oh god, that's
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
cool. She's doing a better British accent than that's what's going on in the film.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah,
That was
no, I really enjoyed the movie. Adrian really enjoyed the movie. She was a fan of the one of the actors in the movie, which plays the young.
It was Ever's first movie.
It was Ever's first movie, who is the daughter of Mila Jovovich, which at particular sequences you're all like, oh my god, that is Mila Jovovich's face right there and all that. Yeah, and so Adrian was all gushing over that whole entire sequence, but later on, like, she was totally into the rest of the whole entire movie, and it was very, very entertained by it. And again, we're going to rewatch it.
The mother was very, very good.
Yes, Rachel Weisz also.
That was Rachel
did-
Weisz.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Okay, we're just discovering that Adrian has just realized that was Rachel Weisz playing. Yes,
old
from
now.
The Mummy. Yes.
Oh, that's why she looks so familiar.
Ta-da! Yes, when they de-aged her for the early parts, in the later parts, that's what Rachel Weisz looks like, which still looks fabulous.
Yeah,
I
she
mean,
still looks fabulous, but I did not. Oh my god, I did not recognize her.
Yes.
Hey, question: which character was Antonia? Was that Taskmaster? Who is Taskmaster?
Taskmaster, it was Antonia Dreykov.
All right. So, fun fact: young Antonia is my dentist's daughter.
I hope they
Oh,
bite
that's
your
cool.
ass, John.
That is cool. So in the sequence where
I'm
she's
going to
cutting
repeat
the
it
secret
since Adrian
gag.
was talking over me. Fun fact: young Taskmaster Antonia was my dentist's daughter.
She didn't have a lot of screen time. She basically got out of a car, and then we see her walk in to see her dad, and then through a window,
And then
boom,
boom.
explosion.
and then
That was it, eh?
explosion.
But still,
yes.
that's damn cool.
Yeah,
That is really cool.
Did
That
she
is
do
really
her own stunts?
I'll ask her next time I'm getting my teeth drilled.
I have a question there, Mike. Aren't you afraid they're going to like put nanites in your teeth or some 5G chips?
He is
Oh,
now.
now he's thinking about that.
Yeah, dentistry is
fluoride.
not government funded anymore up here. So
Oh,
I think that was more back in the 80s.
all that fluoride they made us drink.
Yeah.
All
That
right,
was
so
fluoride.
just to come to a wrap up of this, because we've got a little bit more show to go, but
Oh my God.
We're
How
saying-
long is your Loki list, Trevor?
we're saying positives. We're saying positives right now, right? We're thumbs up
Uh-huh.
with the
Yes,
Black
yes.
Widow. Yeah. Again, Mike.
This is the script that Trevor gave me.
It's
For
only
the audio
27
listeners, that's
items.
a
Yeah, exactly.
big stack of paper.
Great visual joke there for a podcast.
Yeah.
There, Gavin.
You got a
It'll be
face
the
for
outtakes.
podcast there, Gav. Jeez.
Always think about the outtakes.
Yeah, always thinking about the outtakes.
That's why it's never wearing pants.
So we're gonna
That
go
was so
on.
I am
We're gonna go
today.
on to the next sequence and all that, and we're gonna be talking about one of the other things that has been drawing us to this podcast for the past 4 weeks, and we're gonna be talking about
Marijuana.
the 5th episode
You're
of
so American.
Is it legal?
Actually, it's
where
not
you-
even legal there. They're going to kick you out.
Let them try.
Loki, episode 5.
Oh,
I'm
right.
like a tick now.
So the penultimate episode was dropped this past Wednesday on Disney Plus to Rave reviews, correct, everyone? Correct. We're gonna go with.
Oh my
rave
gosh,
reviews
yes.
works.
Yes.
I just got to say one thing about this series.
Just one thing. Just one thing. That's
Just
all you're
one-
gonna say about this series.
Well, we know Trevor's going to take it from here and last
Oh,
about
okay,
2
I got
hours.
you. You want to get your one thing in?
Yeah,
now.
let me get my
Gotcha.
one thing first.
Okay.
But every single episode, I don't know what's going to happen next. And it's so much fun to watch because so many times you see the formula, you think you know what you're going to get. Episode 1, TVA, oh, this is really bizarre and bonkers, but I think I understand it. Then you get episode 2, it's like, oh, what just happened? They're like time nukes, like this is weird. Then every single episode adds something new, and it like I'm on the edge of my seat the entire time.
Something
And this
completely
last
unexpected.
this last episode was the exact same thing. Like where they left it off, it's like we have one episode left. I don't know what the hell's going to happen.
It's gonna be 3 hours long, right? This next episode's gonna be
It
3
better
hours
be.
long.
Season
quickly
2,
gotta go
maybe?
grab a
I don't
drink, so
know.
I'm going to pause for a second. I'll be right back.
But yeah, so we
Trevor's flying away with his American flag for all, and I don't think he's wearing any pants.
Hey, that's my territory.
So all being said and done, again, like Mike just said, didn't know what to expect from this episode. This episode just, I think, just gobsmacked everybody. It was just a phenomenal thing to be watching. From what we were given from the previous episode, how it ended, and how we dealt with this, the beginning of this episode, it was such. I don't know. You can't say it was a twist, but it was just something that you were not expecting. I mean, there was no way that you could have possibly sat down and think, "Hey, this is where the story is going to go," and
Sort of like Trevor
Nope.
flying around the room.
yeah.
We don't know where he's going. We don't know
where
what's
he's
going to happen next.
Exactly.
And I'm
But yeah,
back.
and so yeah, this was a phenomenal episode. From a series of phenomenal
That's
episodes.
an ugly couple. Holy cow.
Who's Adrian talking about?
Adrian's watching Survivor right now.
Look at them.
Yes, they're okay.
Oh.
But we're talking about Loki.
But we're
I mean, if
talking
you're
about
talking
Loki.
about alligator Loki, you can say that.
Croaky!
Did you see somebody did those the Croc shoes with the little horns on them?
No, really?
I would wear some Crocs just to
I
have
would
that.
I would wear Crocs with that. I really would.
Oh my god, that's amazing. With the little that's
Yeah,
so
with the little-
hilarious.
with the little
That's so
horns.
hilarious. All right.
I saw that and I was like, oh, and there was like, oh, those aren't for sale. Damn it.
Yeah.
They will be soon on Etsy. I know that.
Someone will.
All right. So going into this particular episode, we again, like we've stated, we had no idea where this was going to go. And we got what we weren't expecting. We know from the previous episode how it ended. Loki wakes up and he's surrounded by other Lokis. And we were given benchmark comic book Lokis. I mean, technically, Croc Loki really wasn't there, but that was just a left turn swerve that they just decided to throw at us, I guess, sort of thing.
One
But-
thing I got to say about the alligator Loki, as I saw some show notes from the guys who made the show, they were trying to figure out, like, did you see the stuffed animal that they used for Loki? It's a big blue stuffed crocodile
Yeah.
that was on set that they could interact with. Then when they were doing the CGI for it, I guess it started off very cartoony. It's like, oh, that's not quite right. And they kept getting more realistic and more realistic, more realistic. Then they finally got the hyper realistic crocodile or alligator with the Loki horns. And it just was so ridiculous. It's like, that's the one. We got to go with that. I think that was the right
Absolutely
choice.
fits.
Yeah. Like the way the eyes moved for expression, it was just so creepy and so Loki like. I thought they did an amazing job. That would have been such a fun sequence to animate.
Troy's doing hand gestures again. All right, here we go.
Troy's doing hand signals and sign language for an audio podcast. Oh, Troy.
I definitely got to say I was absolutely entranced with the entire episode. Just no idea where it's going. I'm on this ride like a roller coaster into a dark cave, and I have absolutely no freaking clue where it's going to end up. And I enjoyed every single moment of it. I'm going to leave all of the little Easter eggs to Trevor, because I mean he's got his script of Easter eggs. But I got to say, some of the standout performances, like Richard E. Grant, was just perfectly cast. He was he's originally a stage actor. So
did you see what he posted on either Instagram or Twitter or something like that about his spot?
Wearing tights. He was that kind of career, and he's suiting up as classic Loki.
Yeah,
I think it's a good career.
Oh, that was so good.
Well,
yeah.
But that leads perfectly to my next point. Being a stage actor, he is absolutely willing to completely go full ham, completely like cheese it up, make it as corny as it has to be to make the character work. And he made it work.
He did.
Every single moment.
You're wearing a costume like that. And I love that WandaVision did the same thing, where they went goofy with the Halloween costume straight out of the Marvel comics.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And the thing is, it's like, it works. Like when you have an actor that can pull it off, you can wear those goofy outfits. Like classic Loki is the ultimate example. Died. Is she talking about classic Loki or something else?
She's talking about something else.
Oh, Adrian. So the fact that
she just said his grandma just died.
No, but I'm talking about classic Loki. This is important, Adrian. The people don't care that the grandma died. Wow. This is classic Loki. Where's the TVA when you need it? Anyways, we can prove that part out of the timeline. Yeah. But classic Loki, like that kind of a performance and that kind of an outfit, you can see what's possible with these movies and these costumes in the Marvel Comics universe history when it's done right. And that's why, going back to Taskmaster, why didn't you stick to it? Like, we know it can work. This is the ultimate example of that. Mm-hmm. What do you think, Adrian? Oh, sorry, Troy's muted. Go ahead, Gavin.
Yeah, I mean, just everything he did, like he went full camp, and as I mentioned with David Harbour before, like just chewing through the season. He chewed through every moment he was in there. He was able to both simultaneously create a thoughtful Loki, like one that actually has reflected on himself. That whole bit is when he's complaining about Loki's never freaking change. Like he's just so exasperated with himself, kind of thing. And when he's doing his bit at the end, when he's summoning Asgard, like every movement he's making, like the full on, like he's
so
he's
good.
Like he's conducting an orchestra, and it just feels so right as he's doing it.
I have a note about that.
One other thing before we go any further is that Richard E. Grant was also in Rise of Skywalker, as well as one of the First Order members. So he's also been in a Star Wars. So he's been in a Marvel, he's been in a Star Wars, so we're waiting for him to be in a Disney.
I have a question for you guys.
Yes.
Classic Loki.
Yes.
Next episode, will he be in it? I think he will be.
Yes.
Because after the story of how he got away from Thanos, right? He created the illusion, got choked out, and went away as a piece of debris.
Yep.
The fact that when he died in this one, you see a little piece of debris floating off into the interstellar sunset. He might be there, and I wonder if he might be He Who Remains. Because they because they set up all this story about him being lonely and trapped, and he, that's kind of the story about He Who Remains. So, and then is he the big bad, or is it Kang and they're working together, or is he trying to beat him? Like, I don't know. It's interesting, but it seems like that could be the big conflict. What do you guys think? I know Trevor has
actually,
that.
I didn't even think of He Who Remains. That's actually really good. Wow, that's a nice pull there, Mike. Well, I'm going to say that I'm pretty sure I know Richard E. Grant is going to be in the next episode because he's listed as being in 3 episodes. So this would be his first full episode. The end scene would have been the first episode, and seeing there's only one more episode, that Loki's coming back. Now, knowing that information is unfortunately sort of like takes away the fact that he was taken out by the giant creature. I can't remember its name. The smoke dragon, the purple smoke dragon. Yeah. But
I have to say it really quietly.
Yeah.
Elio.
But yeah, it was, I mean, again, like, I know we're just basically piling on the love of Richard E. Grant's Loki, because it was spectacular. It's what a cosplayer would wear. It's something that someone has never done in live action from a comic book, and that's what it would look like. If it were to be the first time someone would wear that costume, that's what it would look like, and it just worked so beautifully. Kid Loki was fantastic too. I mean,
He was great.
His, like, I loved his headband, the extra wings on it as well, because he's the one in charge, because he's the Loki that killed his Thor. I mean, it's like fantastic.
And do you think that went back to, what was it, the snake and like the Ragnarok story where he's talking about how
He
Loki
knows how
turned
much I
into a
love
snake?
snakes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
And then he stabbed him, and
the Mygard serpent. And
but this Kid
Unfair.
Loki seems to be very like mournful that he has done this, right? Obviously, because he's changed, unlike some
He got
Lokis.
pruned.
Yeah. Once he got pruned. Thank you for throwing in the ecto cooler that he's drinking. I love the fact that it was an ecto cooler that he was
there are
drinking.
so many fun Easter eggs that they throw in that, like even to the video game. Trevor has a note about that.
Trevor has a note about that. Yes,
All right,
even
so
the video
begin.
game. I will admit I didn't catch the video game on my,
I caught.
my first view.
You'd be surprised what I didn't
You
catch.
should see Trevor's notes.
All right, here comes some notes.
Okay.
So
For the three of us that are not Trevor, we're gonna say we really enjoyed this episode, correct?
Yes.
Oh,
Everybody.
absolutely.
There's nobody in the universe that did not enjoy
like this episode. No.
If you did not enjoy it, leave a note in the show comments.
Yes. Please.
Nobody. That's
We can
you.
mock you.
We would
stop and turn your car into traffic.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right. So as
Trevor's got some notes.
As we've stated, yes, Trevor's got some notes, and there's a lot of Easter eggs and references and whatnot in this particular episode, and we're gonna give it away to Trevor because Gavin,
how big was that stack of notes that Trevor gave you? You showed it to
how
the
big
camera.
was that stack of notes?
Well, no, don't show it again. You have to describe it.
He can't describe nothing.
I am waving a large stack of paper.
That
All
he
right.
is, folks. That
Descriptive
he
audio
is.
is.
provided by.
So, the name of this episode is Journey into Mystery. For those who know, Journey into Mystery was the comic that introduced Loki and Thor.
Yes.
So that was that's how they got Loki and Thor into the Marvel universe. On the TVA, when we're doing that crazy pan through, we quickly see one of their little monitors, and two of the places that popped up: Oak Island, the whole treasure on Oak Island, and Boromir. Boromir stuck out in my head because of what classic Loki said. He was, landed on a planet where he was all alone. The only planet I can think of in the Marvel universe he would have been all alone is Boromir in 2300. We back up a couple episodes when they had all those different time bombs. Boromir was listed as one of the destinations in 2300. Well, we don't know if the Red Skull stayed there. He could have been the sole entity on Boromir all by himself with no one to talk to. And eventually he decided to leave, and that's when they caught him and pruned him. In the opening, when we get into the void, we see the Lighthouse of Alexandria. It's that big tall structure, which is one of the seventh wonders of the ancient world. We also later on see the pyramids of Giza and the Sphinx, but the Sphinx has its nose, big bulbous nose on there.
It did not have the nose job yet.
This harkens back to, in the comics, Kang has it's like the circular little city, and in there are the pyramids and basically all the wonders of the ancient world. All the seven wonders are there, and he has a Sphinx with a nose.
Yeah, so it's like all the different time eras that he's conquered
and stolen from.
Yeah,
so
it comes into his what would you call that?
When we
His
see the ruined New York, we see the Sanctum Sanctorum from Doctor Strange. It's kind of ruined and pushed off to the side. The three-masted ship with the lifeboats, that's the Santa Maria from Christopher Columbus, because it hit a reef shoal and sank. We see the Red Skull's like spinning helicopter gyrocopter that he used in Captain America: The First Avengers. because they walk right by it, and you can see like the one. It's kind of broken up, but it's that little spinny helicopter thing. One of my favorite sequences is when Mobius shows up in the pizza car. The license plate is Mark Grunwald.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mobius is based on.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful callback, but also, if you think about it, Owen Wilson driving a car with a pizza logo. It's Lightning McQueen driving the Pizza Planet truck from Pixar.
Yeah, it is.
How
definitely,
perfect is that?
Yeah.
I was
The
wondering
Hula
what the
Girl.
pizza truck was. That was one Easter egg.
Yeah,
I
that was
did not
totally.
get.
That was
The
totally.
Hula Girl
Yeah.
on the dash is the same Hula Girl from WandaVision, the ice cream truck that they steal. It's the same.
Oh, son of a
Hula Girl.
bitch! Oh my God, it
I
is.
checked.
Oh,
It's
I
the
didn't even.
exact same one. I was just like,
That's a
oh
good
my
one.
God,
I didn't
that's
catch
awesome.
that. All right.
Again, the high C ecto cooler.
Mm-hmm.
The second I saw that, I was like, oh, I had one of those. Yeah. The Polybius video game in the Lair. That's the cursed video game that was around for what was about a month and then disappeared.
Yeah.
It's been in a lot of different shows. It was in the X-Files. It was in the Simpsons. They make mock-ups of it or reference it all the time. The fact that it was sitting there quite out in the open was awesome. Let's see, going down the list. Things like Kid Loki's flaming sword was a nice touch. The fact that Kid Loki handed it off to Loki and then he brandished it and made it flame to try to get attention.
And that's a weapon that Loki did have in the comic books.
Now the USS Eldridge pops down.
That was one of my favorites.
I love the movie The Philadelphia Experiment. That whole thing where they tried to hide the ship and they ended up teleporting it from where it was to Virginia, from Philadelphia to Virginia, and when it came back, like crewmen were trapped into like fused into the hull of the ship and stuff. It was nice to see that bam, it shows up.
Yeah,
guys are running around and they start firing the cannon. That was a great scene.
Now, did you guys catch that reference when you watched it? Because for me, I had to look into it. I did not know what this was when I watched
seen
it.
the Philadelphia Experiment, the movie, a long time ago.
Yeah, I'm the same with you, Trev. I'm the same with you. I was like, wait a sec.
Like,
oh my God, the Philadelphia Experiment. That's amazing.
For me, I was like, what is this boat? There's got to be something to that. And look into it. It's like, oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, that's the other thing with this series too, is that it invites you to do that as well. Like,
I know.
It's something. So it can't be something.
It's not a nothing. There's
not a nothing
attaching to it.
Yeah, nothing is not a nothing. Yes.
The giant-sized Yellow Jacket helmet in the field.
Mm-hmm.
So last time we saw Yellow Jacket, he'd been shrunk down to nothing and disappeared. But now we see a giant-sized version of that helmet, empty helmet, just sitting there in a field.
Right. He never went big, but he does go.
He never went big, but in a different. In a different timeline, he might have reversed the thing and gone big, and they prune that.
Yeah.
Roxy Wine from Roxxon Corp.
Yeah.
Was a nice little touch.
Yeah.
The Thanos Copter.
That was one of my favorites out of everything.
Oh my God! I paused it and I laughed and the more I looked at that frame with it, I just kept laughing. And I was like, okay, I gotta stop. I gotta keep going.
It was a beautiful rendition. It was a beautiful rendition of straight out of the comic book. It couldn't have been more exactly off the page.
Oh, exactly. And then the next one,
I just to say that, for anybody who doesn't know what the Thanos Copter is, it says back in 1979 in Spidey Super Stories number 39, I guess is when the first time Thanos is flying around in his yellow helicopter.
He's coming around in a yellow helicopter.
It's such a bizarre thing for the big bad of the first four, or I guess it would be 3 phases of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. That when you go back to the comics, he's just some
riding around in a yellow
helicopter.
Where did he get his license? Who trained him to fly a helicopter?
The fact that they put that into Loki, and they pulled it off. That's one of the great thing about this series.
Yeah, so there's a couple other things. There was a crashed helicarrier in the background. If you look close, because I zoomed in, there was a Hydra logo on.
Oh, you're kidding me! Oh, I missed that. Oh,
so this is a universe where Winter Soldier, where they took over the helicarriers and had them in their control long enough to put the Hydra logos on them.
Coolness. No, I missed that one.
And because it was laying on its side, and we could see the top deck, and you could see
the red mark.
Okay, I'll know what I'm looking for now. Okay.
I was just like, oh my God, they actually put that in there.
Yeah.
Ronan's Dark Aster ship crashed in behind them.
That's one that my son noticed, And
Yeah, I
that's
was like,
fun.
at first I
It's
thought,
like
is
when you're
that-
watching with the kids, they're like,
Yeah,
that's
I was
Ronan's
like,
ship.
is that?
It's like, oh, okay.
that
When the
Thanos?
kids
I'm
are
like, no,
picking up
that's
Easter
Ronan.
eggs.
And yeah, it's the Dark Aster. And I was
Yeah.
just like, they are grabbing shit from everywhere.
I
This
know,
is
but I
amazing.
love that kids are noticing all the Easter eggs, right? You know, it's like we're picking things up as comic book fans, but kids are picking up things from the other movies. Like, Dad, did you see that? No, I didn't. Oh my God, you're right. This is awesome.
Nice.
T365.
Yep, there you go. There it is. I was
with
about to say,
Frog
what? Oh, you're doing
and-
them out of order. You're just
Yeah,
doing them all over the
we
place.
come
Okay.
down, we see Mjolnir, and then we see the glass jar with T365, referencing Thor issue
Thor
365,
365
Frog.
Throg.
Now,
Frog
when I
from-
watched this one, you know, as we're scrolling through the dirt,
Yeah.
I saw something jump. He's like, oh, what the hell is that? Is that a shrunken Thor? Like, you know, because you
Nope.
see the hammer. It's like,
Yeah.
that was definitely a shrunken Thor. It looked like a shrunken Thor, but it, you know, it passes so fast.
Yeah,
I
but
didn't
you
recognize
see
it was
the
the frog
green.
at the time.
You can see the green face, and you can see the frog legs
Yeah.
I
you
had
could
to
hear the
rewatch that
grunts.
one, and they put the frog in. Frog Thor is
Yeah.
in.
Supposedly,
and-
that might have been Chris Hemsworth's voice,
Yeah,
doing
and
the
then-
grunts.
And it looks like they animated the same thing from Avengers when Thor was trapped in the glass jar inside the Shield helicarrier.
Yeah,
The
that's where they got
actions
the
look
grunts from.
exactly the same.
That's where they got the grunts from. Now, I read an article where they're talking about they had Frog Thor fighting Loki. They had a whole sequence. They filmed it, but then it was cut because it didn't fit with the story at the time. But the one guy was saying Tom Hiddleston just acted it up so amazing fighting a frog. He said it was gorgeous. I hope they put it in like a blooper outtake reel at some point at the end of the season. I want to see Tom Hiddleston fighting an imaginary frog. I really, really do.
Well, they gave us the Zemo cut, right? If they could
Yeah.
give us the Zemo dance cut, then they can give us the
Yeah.
fight
So
scene.
the classic
Kevin
Loki,
Feige, if you're listening to this, Trevor has an idea.
yeah. Classic Loki detailing how he survived Thanos
Yeah.
was amazing. That was utterly amazing. And the fact that he gave that foreshadowing of he turned himself into just random debris. And then, you know, I after I watched, I called up Endgame and I went through, and when Loki has his neck broken, up behind him, there's suddenly a piece of debris that moves.
And apparently
"Ooh."
that was a fan theory on the internet. People were talking
really?
about that.
Yeah.
It's like,
Oh, I had
they
missed
thought they got
that.
away. So
Yeah,
I wonder if
so
the writers got it from the fan theories and
Could
worked
be.
it in.
And then when classic Loki sacrificed himself, when they open up the cloud, you see a piece of debris suddenly move. And I'm like, is that him? Because he outlined exactly how he does it. So it was foreshadowing. We know we're going to see it again. So that's why again, I jumped onto IMDb. I'm like, he's in episode 6. We're seeing him again. So yeah, that was a little happy dance. The Living Tribunal head. That's the head with the veil over the face.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know what that. I didn't know that. I did see it, but I didn't know what it was.
The three faces. We have a face on the side,
yeah.
a face in the front, and the veil over. One of the most powerful cosmic beings in the entire Marvel universe.
Okay.
But we'd also been introduced to the Living Tribunal because
Doctor Strange,
the staff of the Living Tribunal, it's a staff that has 3 separate forms. So we kind of got introduced to it. So that's going to be kind of, I mean, that was a possibility that it's the Living Tribunal that's in the castle, but I was like, probably not. Did you guys see Stan Lee in the mural in the TVA? When the judge,
the
judge, you see like 2 panels and there's people. One of them has big, thick, heavy mustache and a big set of horn rim glasses on. If you look at the murals, one of the people in those murals is Stan Lee. At first, I thought it was Mark Grunwald, and I looked closer. I'm like,
that's what I thought. I thought I saw Mark Grunwald.
I thought it was Grunwald, but when I paused, I was able to get a perfect pause. The mustache is too thick and bushy, and it looks like Stan from like the 60s. And I was like, did they really just put Stan Lee in there? Yes, they did. Yes, they did. It was a nice little way of, kind of calling it all together.
Okay, I know which one you're talking about, but yeah.
When they pull the cloud back, Alioth back, that's almost a perfect representation from the comic books of Castle Limbo, including the tower with the light at the top.
The tower with the light at the top. Yes,
that's Castle Limbo. That's Kang's fortress.
And I love how when Sylvie was communing with it at the very first time,
at first I was
zoomed
like,
into Yeah.
Yeah, and Alioth is initially was one of Kang's foes. He created a guardian to fight Alioth so he could go do time heists. Eventually, he subjugated Alioth and used him almost like a guard dog. So that's kind of like what he's being used as now.
Oh, Dara.
Now,
Wow.
the biggest thing that kind of led me to Kang being the big bad is what we thought was Stark Tower in behind. If you look close, it
says
Quang.
Quang, yeah.
Q-U-E-N, which is Quang's CEO was a Mr. Griffin, who was later revealed to be Kang the Conqueror. So there's all these little callbacks that it's going to be Kang. It's going to be Kang in some form or another. I mean, will he be in the green and purple? Who knows? And then the last thing that I liked so much, the TVA cafeteria trays, piles of them everywhere.
Yeah,
it's
that
like
was
the
a nice
TVA.
touch. Yeah,
they're
yeah.
just, instead of like brushing
Washing
the
the
table,
dishes,
they're
right.
just pruning the cafeteria trays off the tables. Someone's loading up a wand and just walking around going, table 1, table 2, and they're just dropping into the void. Thousands upon millions of cafeteria trays. And you're just like, man, they should not have given the lunch lady one of those rods.
Yeah, it's the ultimate garbage disposal.
It is. It's just, that's maybe some of the stuff that's in there is stuff. It's not a case of, oh, it was pruned from a timeline that's very, it's just shit was lying around and they needed the space. Like, prune that, get rid of these TV, get rid of these cafeteria trays. The first time I saw it, I was like, is that a cafeteria tray? And then you see the massive
style.
And
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, that's their solution to not worrying about garbage. They just prune it.
Now, did you mention, I don't know if you mentioned it or not, sorry if I had missed it, but when Sylvie comes to in the school bus, did you see what she was laying on top of? As she sits up, it's Captain America's helmet.
Okay.
I missed
and
that.
what next to it, the red piece looks like a piece of Tony Stark's armor.
Okay.
Wow. Yeah,
so when she sits up, there is clearly a damaged, like, because it's the blue with the notches, so that it looks like you can see the silver underneath it of Captain America's helmet, and then next to it is a red piece of metal, which looks like it could be a section of Tony Stark's armor, sort of thing.
I'll have to look at that. Now, last thing, when classic Loki was pulling up and making the illusion of Asgard, there was a version of Wagner's Ride of the Valkyries playing.
Yes. Yeah.
And when that's playing, and all I can think of is the Apocalypse Now. At the same time, if there's ever been an appropriate time for Ride of the Valkyries, that was it.
Yeah.
So that and there's probably, I probably missed dozens of Easter eggs, and I fully admit that, but this episode was just one right after the other. There was not a single scene where you could not see something either in the close foreground, middle ground, background, far background, flying through. There's always something happening.
This is what happens when you have creators that enjoy the comic material, they're fans of the thing, and they're making it for fandom. This is the way a comic book movie should be, as far as I'm concerned.
Exactly. And things you know that the people doing the compositing and stuff were just having a field day of just hey, let's add this in, let's add this in, let's put this in the background, because who knows when it was pruned from or from what variant timeline. And it was this was an episode the episode was at 48 minutes, and it took me almost 3 hours to watch.
Or
at least 3 hours on the second go through to start catching all this stuff, because it was just pause, frame, pause. Yeah, it was just crazy.
Yeah, I like it.
Things. I know there was more stuff on the list, but after a while, my thumbs got tired of typing it all in. I was like, screw it, I just can't type it all in.
I liked how we got more of Miss Minutes, which was kind of neat to see.
Yeah,
how interactive she is. Yeah, how much of a personality she actually is. Kind of cool, and how she's working with the judge, going, it's here. Just give us a second or two, and all that.
Right,
and
she's this weird collaborator. How deep does this go?
Yeah, exactly.
That was a really fun character.
I like the fact that except for Mobius, apparently the only thing that survives getting pruned are Lokis.
Because they're survivors.
Because they are survivors, yes. And apparently
they don't get taken by Alioth right off the bat. They could get around.
could that mean that Mobius is also a Loki variant?
Could be.
Yeah, there. The
Now,
first
the
thing I
hatch-
saw about that was online. Like, I would never have thought that originally.
Yeah.
Partially just because the comic, it's like, no, he's his own character. But
Now the
in this-
hatch that they opened to go down
Yeah.
into the bowling alley
Yeah.
had a lot of Indian writing on it, and it's like a like chemical warfare bomb shelter hatch.
yeah, it's like some weird radiation fallout
Mhm.
shelter of some sort.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So just callbacks everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was just I mean, the nice thing is that I get to watch it again technically for the first time on the next viewing that I'm going to watch it, because Adrian's behind a couple of episodes and she's going to get caught up because we're going to watch the finale together when it happens, which means I'll be able to watch it again while she's watching it, sort of thing. So like I can do the whole entire, oh, well, according to Trevor's list, that is that, and that is that, and that is that.
I think honestly,
But-
I'm going to, next Wednesday when the episode drops, I'm going to rewatch episode 5 before I watch episode 6.
I'm pretty sure everyone's going to do that exact same thing. Yeah.
My whole family was already rewatching it.
Yeah.
And again, when the whole family pitches in to a second viewing of a show, that shows how good it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. They definitely have a winner on their hands for this time. That is for sure.
That's why they're already got a second season.
Yeah,
So,
which is also a nice thing to hear. So we don't know if this one, well, with the second season, what do
We
we
don't know
think
what's
this
gonna
next
go on.
episode's going to be? What is it going to be?
yeah, I don't know.
I don't know anymore.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
I-
Exactly.
Every
it's
time
so-
I think it's going somewhere, it takes a left turn to
Oh yeah,
Albuquerque.
it takes
No
that turn
idea.
at Albuquerque and then just screw you, folks. That's not all.
Yeah. See, the thing is, the four of us could come up with 4 completely different ideas of what this next episode could be. This next episode
still be
could be
wrong.
all 4 of those.
Oh yeah, it could be all 4. It could be none of them. It could be
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
So I have a
it's-
question from a few podcasts ago, because Trevor, you bet everybody a Coke that he'd steal an Infinity Stone. Do you think they'll still do that?
I kind of do. I kind of still think he has some Infinity Stones on him, because we don't know going into Kang's dimension if they're going to work or not.
All right, so you're going to double down on that. I'm going to double down that he doesn't. I still think that Infinity Stones are done for now for the Marvel Universe. What do you guys think, Troy?
Yeah, no, I'm gonna go with the not Infinity Stone. I think I know how this is going to wrap up, but I don't think there's gonna be an Infinity Stone involved with this.
Gavin?
Yeah, I'm thinking the Infinity Stones are pretty much a red herring now. It's they've already established what they do, and that if you collect them all, you become a god. But according to
I'm
the
just gonna
TVA,
double down on one minor point. This is how Doctor Strange gets a time stone back into the Eye of Agamotto.
No, I understand that. I
Interesting.
understand that. Yeah, it would
Well,
have to be the
because
time stone.
Without the
Yeah.
eye, it has. I mean, he's wearing it, but it has no power. It's got no battery.
the
So
other
I think this is how he gets it back.
I do have a theory as to what is going to happen after, like post Loki. The TVA is essentially no longer going to be a thing, and so we're going to have variants. Like if we want an episode where Scarlett Johansson comes back as the Black Widow, or like just this is how they can bring her back. Like she's a variant. She's experienced everything, but it turned out it was Hawkeye who was sacrificed. That sort of thing. So
I mean, they might do.
this can bring back anyone.
The
One problem with
multiverse
doing
definitely
that
opens
is-
it up.
You're kind of forcing people to have to watch this series. If something shows up in a movie and people are like, "Huh, that doesn't make sense. How's that happen?" They're, "Oh, we have to go watch a different series to make that answer." So far in the MCU, they haven't had to do that. They haven't had to tell you have to go watch this TV show to make sense of this movie. I don't know if they're going to start doing that now. I think they're using this as a way of setting up the movies, but this is not required viewing just to watch the movies.
Although with what Gavin's saying, they kind of did that with the Infinity Stones for the first few phases. Like the Infinity Stone became a thing. Like you don't have to watch Captain America to realize that the Tesseract had the stone in it. right? And you don't have to watch Guardians of the Galaxy to see the thing that Star-Lord had
The Power Stone, yeah.
Like they did kind of set that up, but they made it work. So by the time you get to Infinity War, technically you didn't have to watch any of the Marvel movies. It'd be completely confusing because there's so much stuff being thrown at you, but they can make it work. And I do think Gavin's right in that once you get the multiverse going, you don't have to explain the blip. You don't have to explain all this other stuff. If you tell the story good in the moment.
The thing is, if Scarlett Johansson suddenly pops up in a movie and people are like, oh, isn't she dead? And they're like, oh, she's a variant. And you're like, what's a variant?
But you could explain that with a couple lines of dialogue. Just like in Spider-Man, they explained the snap and everybody getting snapped back. They explained that in like a high school news broadcast.
They just need a throwaway line. They just need like one or two lines, which basically just everything's smooth sailing. And they've been able to do that fairly well. Like back when, Far From Home, when Nick Fury just tells him, Thor's off planet. It's like, okay, that's why Thor's not there. That explains everything.
Yep.
But the thing is, if you have someone who has never seen Thor, they're like, who's Thor? That's where the problem comes in.
I would counter that with, if you don't have no idea who Thor is, why the fuck are you watching a Marvel movie?
Exactly.
And if Thor's not there and they say Thor's not there, you go, huh? So the guy I don't know is not there. All right, let's keep going.
Yeah. I want to
Who
also.
Is it? Thor. Thor's not here.
Thor's not here, man.
I also want to point out the fact that friggin' Marvel did that amazing bait and switch with the trailer of President Loki not actually being our Loki and how variants can look identical.
Yes.
I love the fact that up until that point, variants looked completely different from everyone else, except for now.
With the
bicycle helmets on his. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's one guy that just had a bunch of spikes on his head, sort of thing. But the fact that they teased us with this whole entire, up until this point, every variant looked completely different.
Different actor, whole thing.
Different actor, yes, exactly. I mean, maybe we should have known a little bit, because when they showed the holograms of the different Lokis that they had already pruned, they sort of had Tom Hiddleston's face on a couple of them.
There was a couple Tom Hiddlestons and quite a few non-Tom Hiddlestons.
And quite a few non-Tom Hiddlestons, right? But the fact that this President Loki was identical to our variant Loki was just an amazing bait and switch, which, I mean, give us more of that.
If you give us trailers, how much fun would that be to act? Like, Tom Hiddleston must be...
he's got to be enjoying this like no tomorrow. Yes. Oh, for sure. Yeah. He's doing a fantastic job at it.
He is.
I mean, he is the, like, when you say a classic actor, that's what he is. He would be fantastic in silent film because he plays so much on his face. I mean, his acting is a lot of visual, emotional readings on his face, and it's perfect for this Loki character. I mean, it's just, again, we've been saying it for the past couple of weeks. Tom Hiddleston is fantastic in this role. Tom Hiddleston is fantastic to begin with, but yeah, I'm so glad we got this.
That bit where he's talking to Sylvie and saying, I'll be there for you, kind of thing. And like, I'm looking at him, I'm going like, oh, it's Loki. Come on. Oh, it's Loki. Oh, he's serious. Hang on. This is a different Loki now. And I mean, he's managed to do the entire character arc that he did through the entire, from Thor to Infinity War, the Infinity Wars.
Endgame.
Endgame. And managed to do it in 6 episodes.
Yeah. He did it.
Convincingly too.
Yes.
Yeah,
exactly.
And then for Sophia DiMartino, that's when the first time she showed up as Lady Loki, I was like, oh, I don't know about her. Like, it seems like the wrong casting. Boy, was I proven wrong. Yeah. Like every single episode, she's just chewing up the scenery. She's playing the part. she's got me completely emotionally hooked on this character. And I love that when that happens, when you watch the show, it's like, I don't know about this character. Then they say, boy, am I going to prove you wrong? And they just annihilate you with their performance.
I hate the fact that she's going to die in the final episode.
You think?
Yep. I think that's how.
Get him, guys. Get him.
Look, that is my prediction. That is my prediction that it's going to be the emotional linchpin for our variant Loki to continue on with the series, is that something dramatic like that has to happen. And I hate the fact that I have to say it because I love her. The two of them working together are fantastic.
You know what scares me?
What?
I wonder if she's going to backstab him. I think one of the Lokis is going to backstab one of the other Lokis, because the entire series,
It's their nature.
they're talking about like, how many times have you stabbed someone in the back? It's like, oh, I don't do that anymore. And she had the whole thing.
You
You're not going to stab me in the back.
times.
Yeah, there's so much of that. I'm thinking, what if she turns around and betrays him? Like, because I wouldn't see it coming. Like, I would be
And
shocked
classic
if it
Loki
happens.
even like did an entire diatribe on it, because that's what Lokis do.
Right.
They
So
can't,
like, I don't know if it's going to be her. I don't know if it's going to be classic Loki that does it. But I think one of these Lokis is going to cause some major shenanigans at some point next episode. I don't know which one, but she's on the list.
Classic Loki's going to do it.
I think it's probably classic Loki,
Yeah,
but
my
I'm
money's
also
on classic
thinking
Loki is going to be like, if I'm going to be alone, you guys aren't going to be together, because Loki'd have to be alone, and he's going
to stab her in the back.
one
I don't know.
either
Something's going to happen.
someone's getting some
Ooh.
stabbing, and then we're going to
Okay.
see Tom Hiddleston Loki versus classic Loki, magic versus a little bit of magic and some blade. So
Well, now that our Loki, our variant Loki, has that power boost now because of Sylvie.
mhm.
All right. Okay. All right.
Hey,
But
Gavin,
I think what's going to
predictions?
happen is they might end up, magic on magic, and then our Loki's going to be like, "Oh, we're probably even matched," but oh, look, here's a knife. Turns out knives aren't.
He did
useless.
say knives are useless, so
Yeah.
yeah.
That's true.
So
Something's gonna be done
Oh,
with
I
the
didn't
classic
even think of
Loki's
that
not gonna
line.
have
Of
a
course.
knife.
Yeah.
And our Loki's going to have a pair of daggers. He's just going to like pop one and right in the guy's chest and be like, "See, daggers aren't useless."
Yeah. There you go.
that's a good one. Gavin,
What do
predictions?
you got, Gavin? What's your prediction?
I don't even want to try to predict it at this point. I mean, I one thing for sure is I'm gonna tell Amanda not to listen to this episode until after Loki episode 6 airs. And she'll be so dismayed by what you guys are saying.
Hey, it's a spoiler cast. I mean,
We don't know. We're
That's
probably
true.
wrong.
Yeah,
How much have
but-
we been
but we're
wrong
not-
this
we're not-
entire
we're-
series?
Coming up next, episode 6, pre-spoiled by us.
By us.
well,
or
no,
you.
we wait. Okay, that's the thing, though. We're not releasing something on the Wednesday. We are recording on the Saturday, releasing the next Monday. So if you haven't seen Loki by Monday when you're listening to this, sorry, that's your fault. I mean, who's going to wait until Monday to watch the final episode of Loki? I mean, we've gone on for like almost like a half hour at least about Loki alone on this episode.
If you're that invested in Loki, you're watching it like, well, as per Trevor, like 12 a.m. or 12:01 a.m.
Not always.
when it drops.
I can't do it always. I try, but not always. Sometimes I have to look after Harrison first.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. All right.
makes
So
sense. That
we
makes sense.
are going to be wrapping it up this week. We are actually going to put on hold the box office showdown because that's going to take us a little longer. And I mean, I don't mind putting up a 3-hour episode, but there is some sort of requirement of episodes can only be so long to be able to air them for free. So what we're going to do is we are going to dive into our Ask Adam sequence. And this week we have our friend Adam Blendick dropping this particular message for us, for something for us to ponder over and all that. So Adam puts, what is your Nexus event? What seemingly small or major event that when does or doesn't happen to you brings the TVA down on you like a ton of bricks? Share only what you feel comfortable sharing. Sometimes it's something that's already happened to you. If this didn't, what would you change your course? Marty McFly hitting the Rolls Royce, or something that you missed out on that if you had happened to you, you wouldn't be where you were today. I didn't give that $1 to the work lotto pool and everyone else won, sort of thing. So what do you guys think that the TVA, it's something that did happen or didn't happen or you wanted to happen or something like that? What do you guys think from your life, what would have happened? I would have to say that I would have probably stuck with doing like more acting in school, in high school. There was a program that had started. Now we're also talking in the mid 80s when this happened, but I wasn't as comfortable with myself being what it was. I had tried out for a couple of plays in pre-high school sort of thing, in grade school and whatnot, and that was kind of fun. Never did anything too big. Biggest I got was I was the understudy for the character of Chicken Soup in the play Chicken Soup with Rice. But that's basically as far as I got. I never learned any of the lines. All I was doing was part of the course and all that. I actually, as my audition, I sang "Suicide is Painless" as my audition song. So interesting, grade friggin' 5 singing that as a kid getting into. Yeah, from MASH. Yeah.
See, I learned that song on piano. That was the one that was really, really good at it.
Oh, okay. But if I had I probably would be I more than likely wouldn't have gone to Sheridan for animation or something. I might have actually gone to Sheridan still for theater and all that sort of thing. But I probably would have done that to change something huge in my life, is actually invested myself more in doing the actual theater in high school.
Okay, question on top of that. So why would you get pruned for that?
Well, because
the outcome.
Well, because if what I am now is supposed to be the proper timeline, the star that I become would probably be an egotistical character that would be like this annoying shit on variety television. Oh, shut up, Adrian. As opposed to what? As opposed to what, Adrian? As opposed to the
annoying shit you are not famous.
Exactly, but now more people know that I'm an annoying shit.
Say no more.
All right.
We definitely have more money, that's for sure. Who's next?
Oh,
okay,
I'll go.
Go, Gavin.
Oh. I think if I was to point to my Nexus event, it would have been when I was in grade 2.
Oh, Gavin has an actual period of, okay, go for it.
There's
Yeah.
a little 2-year-old Gavin somewhere in the void.
No, grade 2.
Grade 2. Grade 2.
Oh,
not 2-year-old. Grade 2.
Okay.
I don't know. I think I was like 6 or 7 or something like that.
Okay.
So maybe 8. I was still am a goofy, weird kid, and for some reason I thought it would be really funny to spit raisins at a bigger, sort of tougher kid. This basically set me down the path of getting beaten up almost every single day at school for pretty much until high school. No, wait, beyond high school. Stopped in college, mostly. I feel like had I refrained from being like a weird kid, maybe I'd been a bit more accepted in school. You know, end up being one of the cool kids.
You wouldn't have found your own tribe? Or you would have been like... So you're saying you wouldn't be a weird kid. So you'd be a normal
I wouldn't
kid.
have been as weird of a kid.
As weird as a kid. Okay.
So there's some little kid out there who didn't spit raisins. The TVA comes every time he doesn't spit a raisin, he gets pruned.
Poor little guy. What?
Is that right?
I'm not gonna play.
It's like, I really shouldn't do that. Door opens.
Apparently it's just destiny to be a weird kid.
That's amazing. I was just thinking for myself, like the one thing that's been consistent is anytime I try and get the comic book stuff going, something happens. That's something that's been like right from college all the way till now. Anytime I think I'm going to get a page done, something happens. Anytime I think I'm going to an issue out, something happens. To the point where it's been 10 years since I put out the latest comic book. So I can picture that anytime I'm about to get artwork done, a doorway opens, I get pruned. It's like, okay, this issue is not coming out. And that goes, again, all the way back to college. So this has been a constant thing. So I can see a whole void full of different mics who is like, hey, we're getting all these Spy Guy comics done. We have all these projects. We have all these stories. We have all these things done. So that's mine.
All right. Mine stems from October 20th, 1989.
Oh, shut up. Come on. Come
You only
on.
get pruned at
What,
one point?
really?
I know the exact date. I could even tell you the goddamn time.
Okay.
I was in grade 10. I was 16, playing high school football.
I think I know where you're going with this.
I hit the block.
Yeah.
And a guy came around and hit me in the knee, buckled the knee, and that pretty much, that pretty much ended everything in terms of a sports career for me. Because up until that point, I mean, I was hitting the weight room every day. I had a coach who was talking about, maybe one of the assistant coaches played for the Edmonton Eskimos, and he was like, I can call the coach at my university, give him your name. When you graduate, we'll get you in the university and we'll get you into the CFL, because he felt I had the talent. And yeah, if I had slipped that block and not gotten hurt, that's when the TVA would instantly ruin that timeline.
Just right in the middle of the football field.
Yeah, well, the thing is,
opens up.
That would be amazing.
I got hit. That was on a Friday. On Monday, when the doctors were giving their assessment, I had to completely change my second semester because I had like 2 gym classes that second semester. They got switched out with other classes. I took an art class and I took a welding class, and that's kind of changed everything.
Yeah, as soon as you started saying like on the field, I'm like, oh wait, yes, I've heard you talk about this story before. That's why you know the exact date.
I know
when
the
it happened.
time.
Yeah,
I know the date. Yeah. That's when everything changed. Because if I didn't do that, I would probably, not be sitting here with all this on me. Or if I would, it'd be the completely different circumstances. So yeah.
Okay, I have a question for the 3 of you guys though, because you each picked one single event. Do you think there's a whole bunch of other ones like Trevor?
I think there's a ton of events.
Did you like hit an injury and then you got, like anytime, you're crossing the road and you twisted your ankle? It's like, nope, I almost crossed it without getting injured. I mean, or Gavin, did you spit out raisins at people like constantly?
I almost drowned when a fishing boat I was in suddenly just tipped the right way and the whole back end slid into the lake. And at the last second, I slipped on the life jacket. Water wasn't that deep, but in full clothing without a life jacket, I probably would have got dragged under.
So the drowning Trevor would have got. So you were either going to be, I guess, because anything that slips away from the timeline.
Yeah.
Right.
So
either like, football Trevor, nope, gone. Drowning Trevor, nope, gone.
So
yeah, exactly. So yeah, I mean, it could be almost anything, like you said.
Could be.
Yeah.
But that would probably be like my primary Nexus event. Not meeting Meredith, not that the night that I met her. If that didn't happen, none of this, I'd still be in Canada. So yeah, that's a big Nexus event. I wouldn't have 4 kids. So stuff like that. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna stick with my acting.
I could see with Trevor, it's like, after kid number 2, you know what? I think I'm going to get the the vasectomy, and hey, who are you?
No, kid number 3, and we're like, hey, we got the 3rd kid. I'll set up the appointment. Hey,
you were meant to have 4.
Yeah, or like, here, let me call the urology department at Albany Med, and
or like I don't know, you just get into a terrible accident which like mangles your buddies there. Oh, well, that's unfortunate. Wow.
Yeah, it was like, hey, Mayor, let me call your. That Thanos like, they're on the line. Yes, I'd like to make it. Yeah, the door opens up behind me, and the guy just
The
reaches
phone
out
just
with
drops
his
to the
arm.
ground.
He
All
doesn't
right,
even
we're
come
outta
all
here.
the way through. Just
Let's drop the bomb and get out of here.
yeah, just drop that. All right, we're good. No,
All right,
no
that was
use
pretty
lingering
good.
here.
That was pretty good. Thank you for that, Mr. Blendick.
Yes, thank you, Adam.
All right, so on that note, we're going to wrap it up here for this particular show. And
Another quick shout out to Graham.
Yep. So everyone, be sure to tune in next week. 'Cause
Hello,
we
Graham.
Have Oh, Graham? Are we giving a shout out to Graham?
We're going to give a
Apparently
shout out
we're
to
doing
Graham.
it.
Did you
Okay.
know that he has now officially climbed half of the peaks in the Adirondacks?
I did not know that Graham had
He-
done that.
And he's
Yes.
only done half because when he tries to do the other half, he gets blipped out.
Well, no, I think what's going to happen is by the end of summer, he's going to have climbed all, I think it's 42 or 46 peaks of the Adirondacks.
Wow, that's quite the goal.
Yeah, well, some of them
Nice.
are day up, you can do it in a single day, up and down. Others, it's like day and a half hiking in to go up to the top, and then a day and a half after you come down to get out.
I did the second tallest. I
for
remember
it, Graham.
bringing
Goliath?
Pringles up there, and they almost
Congratulations.
exploded.
Congratulations on what you've already done, Graham, and good luck with the rest of them, Graham. Break a leg. Wait, you don't do that
No,
for hiking.
do not
you?
break
No,
legs.
no,
Do not break a leg. No,
No, do not
Graham,
break
do
a
not
leg.
break a
Do
leg.
not.
I'm just saying, as
Graham,
of
whatever
July
you do, do not
5th,
break a leg.
his mom said he reported he had just climbed his 23rd Adirondack high peak.
Wow.
That-
All right.
That's since June. He's climbed 23 peaks. So in just a hair over a month. That's impressive. So I have no doubt by the end of August he'll have climbed all 46.
And this is just for the hell of it, sort of thing.
He likes to climb the mountains.
Good for him.
And
Good
I've
for
climbed
him.
one. I got the patch for it and everything. It's some of them are not bad. Others are like, oh my god, you climbed that. So yeah. There's a funny post. Someone said, what was it? Hey guy with the camel pack, the nutrient bars, the hiking boots, and 2 walking sticks. My 3-year-old climbed this in Crocs with a naked Barbie. You're fine.
I saw that meme.
All right, so we're going to say good night now to everyone. Goodbye now to everyone. Have a good day now to everyone. And we'll catch you guys all here back next week. Same
That time.
bad
Same
time
channel.
bad channel. Yes. I that's why I started to say it, because Trevor is wearing his Batman shirt and I just started to wander with the brain. But on that note, on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3, collective
Collective
goodbyes.
And remember, folks, be yourself. But if you can be Batman instead.
So actually, good words to live by. All right.
You have just been listening to Geeking Off the Page with your hosts, Mike Kitchen, Gavin Burbage, Trevor Brown, and Troy Bowman. Please be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Also, if you could leave us a rating and comment, that would assist in allowing others to find this podcast more easily. You can follow the podcast on the following social platforms: Instagram and Twitter, search for @PlanetGeekPod, all one word. On Facebook, search for Planet Geek Productions. Or you can send us an email to planetgeekpod@gmail.com. Buy the guys a coffee by going to Ko-Fi, ko-fi.com/PlanetGeekPod. And know that any and all donations will go towards improving all current and future Planet Geek Productions programs. Thank you for listening.